Izuku's quirk hadn't manifested yet and people assumed he was quirkless and for that he was bullied and harassed, but everything got worse when he was blinded by the one he called friend. Then after meeting someone who shares Izuku's disability, everything begins to change. Everyone says all men are created equal, but to be honest that's a load of bull. My name is Izuku Midoriya and this is my story. I wasn't born blind, I became blind after protecting someone who was being bullied by my old childhood friend Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku, and it's not right to bully those weaker than you. Katsuki, who cares what you think? Deku, your quirk hasn't manifested yet, so until you get a quirk you have no right to speak. As Kaken rushed Izuku, he let out an explosion that was more harmful than the ones prior. As the smoke cleared, Izuku shouted in great pain, Izuku, ah ha 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 ha. I can't see anything, where are you guys? One of Katsuki's lackeys said, oh this is serious, we could get in trouble. They took off like the wind and the screams that Izuku let out attracted the adults and one who showed up tried to calm Izuku down. As he washed Izuku's eyes he noticed that the boy's eyes were glazed over gray. Kind civilian, are you okay? Can you see? How many fingers do you see? Izuku, I can't see anything. As the kind man told Izuku, okay, I'm taking you to a hospital, and Izuku tells the man, Izuku, please go to Dagaba Hospital, my mom works there. My name is Izuku Midoriya, what's yours Mr. Kind Civilian? My name is Toshinori Yagi. Okay Midoriya, I'll take you to your mom. As Toshinori barged into the hospital, Izuku's mother worked the reception area. She instantly saw her son and wept to see his emerald green eyes were gone. The shine in his eyes had vanished, they were gray. He was getting treated by the doctors and after they did all they could it was hopeless. Dr. Yamada spoke to Inko. Dr. Yamada, well Mrs. Midoriya, I'm sorry to say that after all we've done your son has permanently gone blind. The nerves in his eyes are severely damaged, none of the medical procedures will work. Inko, so we can't do anything for him to help him see. Inko began to weep until Dr. Yamada remembered something important that would be beneficial to Izuku, but it was on the tip of the doctor's tongue until the number one pro hero of the time walked through the door and his name was Kenshi Takahashi. A.K.A the blind Ronin. As the blind Ronin stepped out of another room getting a checkup when Dr. Yamada called out to him, Dr. Yamada, excuse me blind Ronin, if I could have a moment of your time. As the blind Ronin walked towards Dr. Yamada who had called out to him, he was a bit confused as to what he was summoned for. As they stepped into Izuku's hospital room he sensed there were more people than just him and the doctor. Kenshi, Dr. Yamada, I think we have the wrong room, there are two more people in here. Dr. Yamada, no, this is the right room. You see, in this room is a young boy who is blinded and he can no longer see, the nerves in his eyes are heavily damaged, so we can't do much to help him. His dream was to become a pro hero. Kenshi, oh, so the idea was for him to hear the words of a pro hero who is blind. Izuku's, excuse me blind Ronin, I want to be a hero but I'm not sure I can now since I'm blind. Kenshi, listen my young friend, I've been a pro hero for a long time, it took me years to get to where I am, so if I can do it I positively know you can too. When Izuku heard these words he teared up and as his emotions overflowed everything in the room began to levitate. This was his quirk telekinesis. As this occurred Kenshi could sense the power of Izuku and told his mother, Kenshi, Mrs. Midoriya, I can sense the power that your son is emitting. I would like to train your son. In order for him to see again he will have to master this quirk. Inko, how will he see if he is blind? Is there a technique you can teach him? Kenshi, yes there is a technique, but it be once he masters his quirk he will use vibrations in his surroundings to see, meaning when walking he will use his quirk to send vibrations to his feet and it will be like he could see again. This brought tears to Inko, but not of sorrow but of joy, hearing that her son could be able to see again. No, the important question was how these lessons would affect Izuku's school schedule. Kenshi, not to worry Mrs. Midoriya, I'm a licensed teacher and I also plan to retire from the pro hero business. I will also start my teaching career at Dagaba Elementary School. Inko, Dagaba Elementary is where Izuku attends school. Kenshi, perfect, I'll have him transferred into my class and I will train him all day in order to perfect his quirk. Monday, school teacher, alright students settle down, we are going to have a new teacher join us who was a former pro hero by the name of blind Ronin. Kenshi, thank you for that warm introduction sensei. I'd also like to announce that Izuku Midoriya will be in my class for the rest of his elementary education. Katsuki and his followers felt relief that they weren't punished for blinding Izuku, so while everyone did regular school work Izuku was transferred to the blind Ronin's class in order to master his quirk. Everyone was whining about why Izuku was getting special treatment. Now that Izuku gained a master so he can see again, all Izuku cared about was to be able to live his dream out again. As Izuku was moved to a new classroom where he would be able to master his quirk to be able to so this is the story of a blind hero who will prove to the world that a blind hero will make it to the top just as the blind Ronin did. Time skipped 10 years later, Izuku was 14 and had become able to see with his telekinetic power and had become proficient in hand-to-hand combat thanks to his master Kenshi. A.K.A the blind Ronin. As a gift Izuku's master had a special tool crafted for him. It was a cane that could be used as a multi-tool. Now that Izuku could use his quirk to see he was transferred back into regular classes and used an audio recorder to take notes. As the teacher walks in with a stack of career forms he says, today I'm going to give you all these career forms and you'll decide what job you want. As the teacher said this everyone including the teacher began to laugh as he said, I know everyone here wants to be a hero, so he tossed the stack of papers into the air and everyone began demonstrating their quirks. A familiar voice was here, Katsuki, hey teach, don't lump me in with these rejects. While they applied to low-level schools I applied to UA. As the teacher looks over his notes, yes Katsuki you did apply to UA and oh Midoriya you've applied as well. Katsuki, Deku, how dare a blind piece of shit apply to a hero school when you can't see? Katsuki had no guilt of what he did to Midoriya and charged at him while their teacher tried to restrain Katsuki. Izuku had used his quirk to put a tight squeeze on Katsuki as he began to struggle. Midoriya sent him flying across the room and slammed him into the blackboard. Izuku, listen here Bakuga, don't try that again. My other senses have sharpened dramatically after I lost my sight, so just because I can't see with my eyes doesn't mean I can't use my other senses to see. As the school bell rang, Izuku packed his bags and left to head home as Katsuki was furious, but his underlings tried to clam him down. Bakuga, let's go to an arcade and have fun. Forget that blind loser, he won't be able to get into UA, he's got a handicap so they won't make the test easy just for him. Katsuki began to relax and went to the arcade just as his underlings suggested. Now back to Izuku. As Izuku made his way home, he was making sure to take a route where the streets were full of people and he heard glass shatter and screams of the people. It was a sludge villain as civilians yelled at sludge. The villain then spotted Izuku and charged at him. Sludge, hey kid, you're gonna be my meat shield, so hold still while I wrap myself around you. As Sludge charged at Izuku, people yelled at him to run, but he stood his ground and raised his right hand and threw telekinetic punches, and his cane transformed into nunchucks as the villain rushed again. Izuku used his mastery of his weapon for self-defense. As Izuku weakened his foe, he then lifted his right hand and began to squeeze the villain to prevent him from escaping until a pro hero arrived. Until a voice was heard, All Might, for I am here. Young man, you can release the villain. I, All Might, have arrived. Izuku, thank you All Might, I'm sorry for not having my hero license, but it was in self-defense. All Might, it's okay, the situation called for it, but I must say that you remind me of the former #1 hero Blind Ronin. Izuku, you new master, many have forgotten about him. All Might, wait, is your name Izuku Midoriya by any chance? Izuku, yes it is. Well, I'm sorry, but I must be on my way home. All Might's thoughts, well I can't believe he took on a disciple. He always said that it wasn't necessary to have a sidekick/apprentice. All Might, okay young man, get home safe. As Izuku left the presence of All Might as he walked home, and he entered his apartment and having his mother rush him with a hug. Inko, my baby, are you okay? I saw the news, are you injured? Izuku, what did you see on the news? Inko, don't play dumb, you stopped a villain and you're being called a hero. TV, breaking news, the villain known as Sludge was robbing a convenience store when an unknown young man stopped him. Wherever this green-haired hero is, we thank you. As the news broadcast ended, Izuku's mom was worried but had a sense of relief that her son was able to take care of himself. So as the night came in, Izuku thought that he'd need to train harder to get into UA. Next morning, Izuku went to see his master Kenshi to see if he could come up with a training regimen so Izuku could get a power boost before the Udate entrance exam. Izuku, Master Kenshi, are you here? There was no response from Izuku's master, but Izuku sensed there was something his master left him. Izuku stomped on the ground and activated his vision. A/N, think of Toph from Avatar The Last Airbender. As Izuku did this, he noticed a book on top of a table. As Izuku approached the book and ran his finger across the cover, he felt some bumps. It was then Izuku realized it was Braille. As he began to read it, it was from his master. Dear Izuku, if you've come to look for me, then you're too late. I've left to fulfill my destiny. Meeting you was a great experience for me to pass my knowledge on to someone who reminds me of myself. If you came to ask for a new training regimen, then tomorrow you will meet your new master who will assist you, for I fear I may never return. Go to Dagaba Municipal Beach and clean the entire beach using your quirk. This will help with the usage of telekinesis on heavier objects, and it will help build your stamina. Your new master I've mentioned is an old friend who gladly accepted to train you. Take care my disciple until we meet again. After Izuku finished reading this message from his master, and he shed some tears knowing that he might not meet his master again, all he could do was wait for tomorrow to come and begin training under a new master. As Izuku was waking up from the night before, he remembered that he was to report to Dagaba Beach and learn under a new master from here on out as his master Kenshi left. As Izuku got dressed, put his sunglasses on, and he grabbed an apple after he told his mother where he was going. A/N, the sunglasses is to help protect his sensitive eyes from excessive light. As he headed out to get to the beach, he didn't know what time it was. As Izuku was lost in thought, he accidentally bumped into someone as he heard a female voice along with what sounded like a musical instrument. Hey you fool, watch where you're going, can't you see? Izuku, oh I'm terribly sorry, I'm blind, and was lost in thought. Wait, you're blind? Sorry if I made that insensitive comment about not seeing. Izuku, no it's okay, I've dealt with comments like that ever since I went blind. On another note, miss, are you and your instrument okay? It's not miss, my name is Kyuka Jiro, and let me check if my guitar is okay. Izuku, sorry Jiro-san, if anything is damaged please allow me to pay for repairs. Jiro, well the body and everything seem to be in great condition, so nothing is wrong. Izuku, that's a relief. Now what about you, are you hurt? Jiro, no I'm fine, thanks for asking. What about you, why are you near the beach? Izuku, well I'm meeting my new master who's going to train me because I'm trying to get into Udate. Jiro, Udate, are you serious? There has only been one pro hero who was blind and was able to stay at the top till he retired, and that was the blind Ronin. Izuku, wow, I'm impressed that you knew that my master was #1 ever since All Might showed up. My master retired. Jiro, you trained under the blind Ronin. You must be skilled in combat then? Izuku, I'm not as good as my master but I can handle myself. If you don't mind, would you kindly escort me to the beach? I can see through vibrations, but it's sad to see vibrations on sand. Jiro, of course I'll gladly help you. I'd also like to apologize for being rude a bit earlier. Izuku, it's fine, don't worry too much about it. Now as Izuku and the mystery girl, now known as Jiro, made their way to the sand, Izuku's ability to see through vibrations was going weak due to the instability of the sand. At this moment Izuku went into a state of battle meditation which sharpened his senses and made him able to use the vibration vision again, but he had to learn how to get accustomed to different ground surface areas because if he became a hero villains could exploit that as a weakness. Jiro, Yuya Midoriya, what are you doing? Izuku, it's battle meditation, it sharpens my senses and I can use my vibration vision again, so if you have somewhere to be then it's fine, you don't need to keep me company. Jiro, well if you say so, but I'm kinda worried about you being alone. If anything, should I write down my name number and give this to someone who will help you? Izuku, here, use my special phone, it's all voice commands, so it tells me what names are in my phone and it will dial the number. For example, if I say call Jiro, it will call you. Jiro, wow, that's impressive. Okay, I've put my name and number, so if you want to just talk, drop me a line, or if you need help, don't be shy to call me. Izuku, thanks, I appreciate your kindness. Jiro, have a great day. As Jiro left, Izuku waited for his new teacher to arrive until he heard someone clear his throat asking the young man a question. Are you the blind Ronin student? Izuku, yes I am. Who are you? Toshinori Yagi, my name is Toshinori Yagi, and you are? Izuku, my name is Izuku Midoriya. Wait, Toshinori, are you the one who took me to the hospital when I was blinded? Toshinori, Izuku Midoriya, are you the same boy I helped 10 years ago? Izuku, yes, it's nice to speak to you again. But why are you here? Toshinori, well, your master asked me to get you ready for the U.A exam and that's what I shall do. Call me by my hero name. Izuku, what's your hero name? Toshinori, you know me as Toshinori, but I really am All Might. Izuku, All Might, the hero who's been ranked 1 ever since my master retired. All Might, yes it is I now. Are you ready to train? I will make you stronger, probably stronger than I. Are you ready for 10 months of hell on your body, mind, and soul? Izuku, I'm ready for anything, so shall we begin? All Might, we can begin tomorrow. Let's get acquainted some more so I can make a perfect training menu for you. Before I make the training menu, who was the cute girl with you earlier? As Izuku's face grew a small blush, I don't know who you're talking about, I was here alone. All Might, don't play dumb, I was here the whole time. I was going to talk to you, but then I saw a girl with you, so I sat and waited to see what you'd do. I also saw you gave her your number. Izuku, she's someone I bumped into and my vision gets distorted on sand, so I had her help me to navigate my way on sand. All Might, okay, I believe you, so then you gave her your number. Izuku, actually she gave me her number just in case I need help. All Might, I think you have a shot with her. Izuku, I mean I'm blind and she probably already has a boyfriend. In another part of town, Jiro's thoughts, OMG, he was so cute and polite, I can't believe I gave him my number. Jiro was lost in thought as a voice called to her. She had a small blush on her face. It was none other than her friends Mina and Momo. Mina, are you coming from the park where you play for the children? Jiro, yeah, I am sorry if I'm a little later than usual. Momo, it's fine Jiro, but why is it that you smell like salty air as if you're coming from the beach? Mina, OMG, did our little Jiro meet a boy? Jiro, yes and no, I bumped into him and well he had a problem so I pointed him towards a beach and that's what happened. Momo, that's kind of you. Suo, did you get his number? Jiro, no I didn't. What do you think, this is some kind of romance story? Momo gave Mina a signal and she completely understood what she wanted her to do, so while catching Jiro off guard, Mina snatched Jiro's phone and tossed it to Mana, who began to look for a contact that she didn't recognize, so she began to scroll until she saw the name Izuku Midoriya, smiley face, with the smiley face included. Momo, this is he guy who you bumped into, I'm sure of it. We all have the same people in our contacts, but this is a name I don't recognize, so it has to be the mystery guy. Jiro began to blush as she couldn't admit to what Momo she said was true, so she passed the phone to Mina and told her to dial the number. As Jiro resisted, Mina began to dial. Previously, Momo gave Mina a signal and she completely understood what she wanted her to do, so while catching Jiro off guard, Mina snatched Jiro's phone and tossed it to Mana, who began to look for a contact that she didn't recognize, so she began to scroll until she saw the name Izuku Midoriya, smiley face, with the smiley face included. Momo, this is he guy who you bumped into, I'm sure of it. We all have the same people in our contacts, but this is a name I don't recognize, so it has to be the mystery guy. Jiro began to blush as she couldn't admit to what Momo she said was true, so she passed the phone to Mina and told her to dial the number. As Jiro resisted, Mina began to dial. Chapter 4 begins. As Mina began to dial the number under the name Izuku Midoriya, she heard the phone ring once, twice, and then she heard a guy's voice. Izuku, hey Jiro-san, what's up? Is something wrong? Silence was heard because his voice sounded suave and made Mina blush a violet color. Momo then snatched the phone from Mina to see why she blushed, on only to hear Izuku say, Izuku, I guess she but dialed me, only able to hear these words uttered. Momo also blushed as Izuku dropped the call, and both Mina and Momo told Jiro, Mina/Momo, introduce the suave-voiced guy you're keeping to yourself. Jiro, I'm not keeping him to myself, I barely met the guy today, but if you want to meet him I'll see if we can all meet up. Let's check in on Izuku and Toshinori aka All Might. As both Izuku and Toshinori were discussing what methods would be effective to help Izuku gain more power before the UA exam, an electronic voice was heard. Incoming call from Kyuka. Jiro, All Might, see, what did I tell you? She likes you. If she wasn't interested in you she wouldn't have called, but she's calling you, so she's interested. Izuku, I don't know about that, she probably but dialed me on accident. As Izuku picked up, he heard another voice that didn't belong to Jiro and heard the phone get taken, but he thought it probably was her just but dialing him. All Might, well I can tell she's into you, she had this blush after she left. Izuku, I'll believe it when pigs fly. Incoming text. A few seconds later Izuku's phone sounded and had received a text from Jiro as the phone announced the message so Izuku could hear it. Jiro, hey, do you want to meet up and grab some food? Think of it as an apology for being rude when we first met. All Might, what did I tell you? She's interested in you. Look, go and meet her and we can officially begin training tomorrow. Izuku, thanks All Might, I promise to be the best pupil you'll ever have. As Izuku's phone rang again with directions to lead him to the small cafe where Jiro, Momo, and Mina were at. After waiting for 20 minutes Izuku walked into the cafe wearing orange lens sunglasses. Izuku was 14 at this time. Before going into Udate he was able to grow a small goatee. As Izuku approached the hostess at the cafe he said he was joining a friend until he heard a familiar voice. Jiro, Midoriya over here. Hostess, is that the friend you will be joining? Izuku, yes that's her. As Izuku approached Jiro's table the hostess noticed he had his cane that retracted into a small tube and instantly knew he was blind. As he got closer he sensed two more people with Jiro. As he approached he greeted them. Izuku, hi Jiro-san, it's great to meet you again. Who are your friends that will be joining us for lunch? Jiro, these are my best friends Momo Yaoyorozu and Mina Ashido. When both young ladies stretched out their hands to shake Izuku's hand, and that's when Izuku surprised them by planting a kiss on each of their hands which caused them to be flustered. Izuku, it's a pleasure to meet you charming young ladies. Momo, Ella likewise. Mina, yeah. Jiro began to smirk when she saw the facial reactions of her best friends and so they began having some small talk before the waitress arrived at their table and handed them the menus. Izuku received a special menu that was written in braille. Izuku, I'll take the chicken Caesar salad and water with a slice of lemon please. Mina, Momo and Jiro, will take the same thing. As the young teens start a conversation both Mina and Momo ask Izuku, Mina/Momo, Midoriya, why don't you take off your sunglasses? Izuku, I would but my eyes are really sensitive to sunlight. Momo, no problem, let me take care of that for you. Momo said as she closed the blinds to the window booth where they were seated. As Izuku let out a big sigh and began thinking of a way to prevent them from knowing his disability when suddenly Mina snatched his glasses only to reveal that Izuku's eyes were glazed over, making it known to them that he was blind. Both Momo and Mina were shocked and a bit disgusted with themselves for making Izuku feel uncomfortable. Izuku, well no, you know I'm blind, maybe I should pay for my meal and leave. Mina, I'm sorry Midoriya, I didn't know, and well I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. Momo, I also would like to apologize for making you feel uncomfortable. Were you born blind or how was it that your eyes became this way? Izuku, I suffered an accident while protecting a kid at the playground who was weaker than the bully, so he blasted me with a fire quirk and heavily damaged the nerves in my eyes. Even if they gave me a transplant the chance of me being able to see are non-existent. As the food came Izuku changed the mood by getting excited to eat, but deep down Momo, Jiro, and Mina were sad to hear about Izuku's situation when suddenly a robotic voice sounded off. Incoming call from mom. Izuku, crap, I forgot to let my mom know I didn't train today. As Izuku picked up the call a female voice was heard. Inko, honey, when are you coming back from training? Izuku, sorry mom, no training today, I made some new friends and we're having lunch together. Inko, remember you have an appointment with the doctor in 40 minutes. Izuku, wasn't my appointment at 3:40? Inko, what time do you think it is? You got 40 minutes. Izuku, hang on mom. Jiro, what time is it? Jiro, it's 3 p.m. right now. Izuku, holy crap, I gotta go right now. Listen, the meal is on me, I gotta get to the hospital now. As Izuku asked the waitress for a takeout box as Izuku was paying and was about to run to the hospital until he felt two people tugging on his shirt as Mina and Momo returned his sunglasses. Momo, listen Midoriya, thanks for paying for lunch, can I offer you a ride to the hospital? Izuku, you're welcome, I don't want to be a bother. Momo, I'm sure my driver won't have an issue if we take you to your appointment. Izuku, wait, your driver? What do you mean? Mina, oh Momo is loaded, she belongs to the Yaoyorozu family. Izuku, I'm so sorry if I showed any disrespect towards you Ms. Yaoyorozu. Momo began to chuckle and she called her driver to pick them up from the cafe. When he arrived he pulled Momo to the side. Saikawa, Madam Yaoyorozu, who is this rough-looking gentleman with you? Momo, he's a friend and do you think we can drop him off at his doctor appointment? Saikawa, yes my lady, what hospital are we going to? Izuku, I need to go to Dagaba Municipal Hospital. As the drive when quickly they arrived and Izuku said his thanks, but Izuku sensed Jiro get out of the car as she said goodbye to her friends and waved to them as she stood by Izuku. Izuku, why didn't you go with them? Weren't you having a good time? Jiro, I thought you could use the company. Izuku, okay, let me warn you right now, my mom works as a nurse here and when she sees you she might overreact, so be prepared. As the two young teens walked into the hospital Jiro sees a woman with the same color hair Izuku who was beautiful and slender. Inko spotted her son with this cute girl with him, her motherly instincts took over. Inko, my baby Izuku got a girlfriend. Izuku, no mom, she's the friend I was having lunch with. Inko, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, I thought my son got a girlfriend. Jiro, oh I'm sorry, we recently met and we had lunch, so the least I could do is escort him to the hospital. Inko, thank you, would you like to stay until his physical is finished? Jiro, sure, if it's not a problem. As the two teens walk into the doctor's office Dr. Yamada greeted them both. Dr. Yamada, who is this lovely young lady? Izuku, she's my friend Kyuka. Jiro, Dr. Yamada, I'm glad you're making friends. Izuku, now if you please remove your shirt so we can attach probes to your chest to measure your heart rate and reflexes. As Izuku did as the doctor told him, he removed his shirt and at that same moment Jiro blushed at the sight of what she saw. That Izuku was ripped and had muscle for days. As Izuku revealed his well-toned body Jiro blushed and Dr. Yamada gave a sign to Jiro to take a picture and so she did. She then sent it to Momo and Mina. To Momo and Mina, a message came from Jiro to both of them. It was a picture of Izuku's rock hard, and both girls got jealous because they didn't know Midoriya was a stud without a shirt. Back to main story. As Izuku removed his shirt, they attached sensors to him that allowed the doctors to see his growth progress, and so after an hour of tests he passed all of them with flying colors, which meant there was no way he'd be denied participation in the U.A entrance exam. So this ended Izuku's doctor visit, and Jiro was astonished at the fact that he passed all the tests with flying colors even though he's blind. This would mark the day Izuku began his training under All Might, and so he woke up early to meet him in Dagaba Beach. It was 8 a.m. so Izuku left home for his training. He made it to the beach only to hear "I am here, All Might. Good morning, young Midoriya, how are you?" "Izuku, I'm doing great and I'm ready to begin my training." "All Might, perfect, I like a kid with determination. Now please remove your shirt." "Izuku, why?" "All Might, it's to see what kind of conditioning you're in, to see if you can withstand the training." "Izuku, okay, give me a brief second." As Izuku removed his shirt, All Might was impressed that the blind Ronin didn't cut corners with teaching a disciple. "All Might, your conditioning is great, but I will make sure you exceed whatever limits you have, so these 10 months be ready to endure pain and suffering." So the 10 months of training began, and the first task was for Izuku to clear all garbage from the beach using his telekinesis quirk. By using his quirk, this would break any limitations he had on how heavy and how long he could use his quirk. So the training began. Izuku with small objects and applied pressure, crushing them like a soda can, so that he began moving up the size and weight of the object when Izuku couldn't squeeze out any more use of his quirk. "All Might, did you overuse your quirk?" "Izuku, yeah, I feel exhausted. I don't think I'd be able to use it again for a bit." "All Might, good. Next up is combat training. To be a pro means to dig down deeper, to find the inner strength to keep pushing forward no matter how exhausted you. A villain won't let you rest. I'll only use 5% of my power, then I'll gradually increase it." So Izuku and All Might sparred until Izuku couldn't anymore, but what surprised All Might was that Izuku was able to block and parry all of the incoming punches and kicks. "All Might, how did you learn to defend against punches like that? What kind of hand-to-hand training did your previous master put you through?" "Izuku, he had me training with a wooden dummy, and we trained my body until my muscles hardened like steel." "Izuku, were you and my master close?" "All Might, yes, as a matter of fact we are, but he always said he wasn't fit to be a teacher." "Midoriya, I have a question for you." "Izuku, fire your question." All Might, I know you're trying to become the successor to the blind Ronin, but I ask, will you become my successor as well?" "Izuku, what do you mean?" "All Might, I've decided to become a teacher at UA to find a successor, but after meeting and training you I've decided to name you my successor." "Izuku, if you are alright with me being your successor, I'll gladly live up to your expectations." As All Might plucked a hair off his head and told Izuku to eat what he will give him, so Izuku did as he was told, and they waited for One for All to manifest and see what kind of boost his quirks will get. As a result, Izuku received power boost and made his quirks 2x stronger. Izuku also gained repulsion, the ability to create shield-like barriers and have attacks bounce off them, causing x2 damage to an opponent. "All Might, let's take a 15-minute rest." "Izuku, sounds like a plan." "All Might, since we're taking a break, I've been meaning to ask, how are things going with you and that girl?" "Izuku, I'm telling you we're just friends, there's nothing between us." Incoming call from Kyuka. "Jiro." "All Might, there's nothing between you two, right?" "Yet Izuku, this is just a coincidence, this proves nothing." Incoming call from Kyuka. "Jiro." "Izuku, hey Jiro, what's up?" "Jiro, nothing, I thought I'd give you a call and see how you're doing." "Izuku, thanks, I appreciate the call, I'm doing well, just taking a 15-minute break." "Jiro, are you still training at the beach where we first met?" "Izuku, yeah, why do you ask?" "Jiro, I was running errands and I'm heading near the area, can I drop something off to you?" "Izuku, sure, it's okay, I'll be waiting." "All Might, I knew it, she's into you. It's undeniable that she has a thing for you." "Izuku, you don't know what you're talking about." As Jiro arrived, she noticed the beach looked cleaner and there was someone sitting next to Izuku. She thought, this must be the teacher who trains him. As she approached, she greeted them. "Jiro, good afternoon." "Izuku, how is training going?" "Izuku, hey Jiro, everything is going well. This is my new master Toshinori, he's friends with the blind Ronin who was my previous master." "Jiro, it's a pleasure to meet you as well." "Toshinori-san, you see, I was on my way to bring lunch to my father who's at his recording session and made a little too much, so I brought extra." "Izuku, thanks, I appreciate the lunch. We were taking a 15-minute break to recover our stamina." "Jiro, well, you both are lucky because I've made extra grilled chicken sandwiches. Here you go guys." As Jiro handed them 2 grilled chicken sandwiches, both Izuku and All Might noticed they were piping hot. As Izuku took his first bite, he noticed the ingredients used were yellow cheese, onions, mayonnaise, and tomato. As Izuku had a mess of crumbs and mayo around his mouth, out of instinct Jiro wiped his mouth with a napkin. She usually did this for the kids at the playground who enjoyed her guitar playing. Jiro began to blush deep red as Toshinori began breaking out in laughter. She then excused herself and ran away at a speed of sound. A/N. All Might goes into his skinny form when he's a hero in training Izuku, but when someone else appears he stays in his skinny form. "All Might, I told you she likes you. No girl would do that to any guy, she still would have done it even if you weren't blind." "Izuku, you're just talking nonsense again to break my focus." Time skip 9 months later. As Izuku endured the intense training he was put through just to handle the power of One for All and the combination of his telekinetic quirk to fuse the two together and create a style of using both quirks. Izuku also managed to use One for All in a telekinetic combo, so using he could use it without physically using his body, so he trained to use it with his telekinetic combo and fight using it in hand-to-hand All Might, young Midoriya, I'm impressed that you've mastered 25% of one for all both physically and telekinetically. I believe you're going to surpass my and the blind Ronin's expectations. Izuku, thank you All Might, I hope to make my masters proud. I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the both of you. All Might, your test is next week, so today is Friday, your test is Monday of next week, so rest until the day of your exam, you've earned it. It's been a week since Izuku finished his training. Now the moment of truth has finally come. He's heading to the Udate entrance exam to see if they believe he's fit to be a hero like his previous master the blind Ronin. Izuku woke up and made his way to Udate to take the exam, and as he arrived a lot of people seemed shocked to see the young man that had his multi-tool cane. So many around him believed that he was at the wrong place until he heard a familiar voice. Bakugo, oi blind fuck. What are you doing here? This place is for heroes, not crippled bastards like you? Izuku, I earned my right to be here and there's nothing you can do to stop me. As Bakugo attempted to trip the blind young man, he was met with a shove from another young man. What the hell's wrong with you? Harassing a disabled person? Are out of your damn mind? If he's earned the right to be here, then he's probably going to be a better hero than you. As Bakugo left after being told off, the young man checked to see if Izuku was okay after being harassed and almost attacked before the exam began. Hey bro, are you okay? Man, that dude was a real ass to try and attack you. Sorry I didn't introduce myself, I'm Kirishima Eijiro. Izuku, thanks Kirishima, I owe you one. Kirishima, think nothing of it bud. You're here for the hero exam, right? Izuku, yeah, I'm here to ace the exam. By the way, my name is Izuku Midoriya, hope to meet you again. Kirishima. As Izuku departed from Kirishima, he tripped, but before he could do anything he was floating in the air as a girl with a bob hairstyle released the gravity field on him. She said, it would be bad luck if you trip. As she ran along inside, Izuku also made his way to orientation, and there a teacher who introduced himself as President Mike began explaining the exam. Then there was someone who interrupted him. It was then a boy who acted more machine than man began to ask about a mystery enemy. When President Mike answered and said, President Mike, that's a faux villain, it's worth 0 points so you can run away from it. As the test was about to begin, everyone was waiting talking before the practical test was about to begin, but Izuku was in his battle meditation, which increases his senses in battle. As he was focused, he heard a loud go. Izuku took off using one for all on his legs to take down villains. President Mike, what are you all waiting for? In the pro hero world there is no ready, set. As Izuku wasn't sure how many points he was earning, he kept destroying enemy after enemy until he heard 5 minutes remaining. Izuku figured he had enough points to pass, but then he sensed massive vibrations on the ground. It was none other than the faux villain. As Izuku heard the screams of the other applicants, he was about to run till he heard a cry for help. Izuku knew it was the voice of the person who helped him before he tripped. Izuku used his vibration vision and sensed a heavy object had trapped the girl's legs, so Izuku ran towards the cries for help, and before the faux villain was able to stomp on the girl who was pinned, Izuku lifted his left arm, being able to telekinetically hold the giant robot foot from crushing the poor girl. As Izuku held the robot with his left arm, he used his right arm and lifted the debris from the girl in order to free her. Then he brought her to him by lifting her telekinetically and bringing her to his side. As she was cleared from danger, Izuku used his right arm for more power and applied pressure to the faux enemy and began to crush it telekinetically and flatten it like a soda can. As the enemy exploded, the teachers who observed the display of power couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. This boy had saved another examinee and destroyed a 0-pointer without any problem. As All Might was among the teachers, he spoke. All Might, you know this young man is actually blind. Isawa, what? Nizu, what? Midnight, what? Nizu, Isawa, I'm putting this promising student in your class and no buys about it. Isawa, yes Nizu, I understand. All Might, did you know he's a disciple of the blind Ronin? Everyone, what? Nizu, Isawa, keep a special eye on him, he is a promising student. As the observers finished talking, the examined stood in awe to see Midoriya annihilated the 0-pointer. As he asked the girl, are you okay? She shook her head. As an elderly woman walked around asking the young teens if they were in need of medical treatment, Izuku picked up the girl bridal style and walked towards the elderly woman. Izuku, excuse me, this young lady needs medical attention, I think her foot is broken. Recovery girl, my name's Recovery Girl and I help you youngsters out. As Recovery Girl puckered her lips and kissed the girl's forehead, her bone was completely healed. As Izuku put the girl down who was completely healed, she bowed to him, showing him gratitude. Izuku, my name's Izuku Midoriya, I'm glad to have been of help. Okako, my name's Yurika. Okako, thanks for helping me. Midoriya-san. As the exam ended and everyone was walking home, Izuku felt a tap on his shoulder and was greeted by Kirishima with his signature. What's up? Kirishima asked how Midoriya did on the test. As they walked, Kirishima asked. Kirishima, so I don't mean to pry, but what's up with the shades bro? Izuku, oh my eyes are sensitive to sunlight, so I gotta wear them in the sun and while I'm inside under fluorescent lights. Kirishima, oh that why you're wearing them. Listen, me and some friends are going to grab something to eat right now. I was wondering if you'd like to join us? Izuku, sure, if it's okay with you guys that I join in. Kirishima, great, I'll call my friends and let them know I'm bringing a new friend. As Izuku and Kirishima were heading to the meeting spot that Kirishima and his friends agreed on. Before they got there, Kirishima was curious about Izuku on how he lost his sight but didn't want to be rude if he asked, so he left it alone. 5 minutes after they reached the meeting spot, Izuku heard a familiar voice. Jiro, Midoriya, what are you doing with Kirishima? Kirishima, you know Midoriya? Izuku, Jiro, you know Kirishima? Okako, Midoriya, what are you doing here? As the familiar voice rung inside Izuku's ears, it was unmistakable that it was Yurika Okuko, the girl he saved during the exam. As they sat down to order something to eat, they began talking about how they all know each other. For example, Yurika and Jiro were childhood friends and they went to grade school with Kirishima, and that's how the three knew each other. As far as how Izuku got acquainted with Kirishima was due to him saving Izuku from some asshole who disliked him. So as for introductions, they were not needed since the small group was already acquainted with one another. The food arrived at the table. Izuku got a chicken salad, and what Yurika was curious about was why Izuku was wearing his sunglasses inside. Okuko, Midoriya, why are you wearing your sunglasses inside? Izuku, my eyes are very sensitive to light and my eyes begin to hurt if my eyes are exposed to light for an extended amount of time. Kirishima, I was wondering the same thing when the guy who was going to attack you, he said blind fuck. I didn't want to ask too much, but if it's too personal you don't have to answer. Izuku, you see, I'm actually blind. When I was 4 years old I lost my sight and ever since then I've had to learn to see in a different way. I don't see with my eyes but with vibrations. As Izuku had removed his sunglasses, he showed Kirishima and Yurika the damage towards his eyes, and all they saw was his eyes glazed over as if he was dead. Both Kirishima and Yurika are a bit shocked to see that a nice guy like Izuku could lose his sight. Yurika, how did you lose your sight? Izuku, I was protecting a kid from a villain and he launched an explosion at my face, extremely damaging the nerves in my eyes. Kirishima, can't you get a transplant? I mean, we have high-tech medical treatment procedures. Izuku, doctor said that there's a 0.1% chance the operation will succeed, but I'd rather not go through with those odds. Both Yurika and Kirishima were left speechless and the customers around them heard, but Izuku noticed how quiet it got as H stood in the whole cafe and bowed and said, Izuku, I'm sorry if I disturbed your meals. As the noise resumed, everyone couldn't help but feel sad for Midoriya, who couldn't see anymore. It wasn't until Midoriya's phone sounded off ** incoming call from mom ** incoming call from mom ** Inko, hi honey, how was your exam? Izuku, it was fine, I feel like I did well. Inko, where are you? You said you'd be home straight after the exam. Izuku, sorry, I made some new friends during the exam and they invited me to eat with them, so we are eating right now. Inko, okay honey, please be safe and I won't be coming home, I'm working a night shift at the hospital tonight. Izuku, okay mom, be safe and I will see you tomorrow. Love ya mom. As the call ended, Yurika and Kirishima asked Midoriya if he was busy, maybe they could hang out and get to know him, so they asked, Yurika, are you busy after this? Midoriya? Izuku, no I'm not, I was probably going to go home and just listen to music while I work out. Kirishima, how about we go to karaoke? Izuku, I've never done that before but I'm down for whatever. As the small group pays and leaves to do some karaoke, when Izuku heard another voice, and one who irritated him the most, the voice of the villain who blinded him. Katsuki, oi blind fucker, you on a double date? Who in their right mind would date you? Izuku, I'm just out with some friends I've made during the entrance exam. Katsuki, you have friends? Ha 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 ha. They're only around you because they feel sorry for you, blind ass. Kirishima, hey bitch. I don't appreciate the way you talking to my friend, do it again and I kick your ass. Izuku, Kirishima, thanks but I can handle this. Katsuki, you handle me. I'll show you what true power is. As Katsuki charged at Izuku to try and attack him, Izuku already sensed the vibrations and was 5 moves ahead of Katsuki, so it didn't matter. Izuku would always have the upper hand and he didn't need to use his quirk, he only needed his hand-to-hand combat training. Within seconds Katsuki was knocked out cold and all bystanders were shocked to see this crazy guy attack a disabled person. After that display of combat power, Kirishima, Jiro and Okuko knew that even though he has a disability he could handle himself. A few seconds later, incoming call from mom. Izuku, hello? Inko, hi honey, did you finish eating? Izuku, yeah mom, we finished eating, what's up? Inko, well they're having to do a double shift at the hospital and I forgot to bring my bag of extra clothes, could you swing by home and bring my bag to me? Izuku, sure mom, I'll let my friends know, we'll do karaoke another day. Inko, there is a karaoke place near the hospital so you guys can still have fun. Izuku, thanks mom, I'll swing by and drop your stuff off. As Izuku dropped the call, he told his friends that he'd have an errand to run but also mentioned a karaoke bar close to where he'd have to complete his errand. Everyone was glad to make a detour, so as they arrived at Izuku's home they saw he lived in an apartment complex. As the landlord saw Midoriya come home, she noticed he brought friends home. Landlord, Midoriya-kun, how are you? Izuku, hi Ms. Landlord, how are you? Landlord, I'm well thanks for asking. I see you've brought friends over, that's nice. Izuku, we're actually going to do karaoke but my mom is doing a double shift tonight at the hospital and forgot her extra clothes at home. Landlord, sounds like fun, well hope you guys enjoy yourselves. As Izuku went to his apartment quickly, he grabbed his mom's extra clothes and headed towards Dagaba Hospital. As he dropped off his mother's thing, they found a small karaoke bar. As the group of friends headed towards the karaoke bar after accompanying Izuku on a small detour, Kirishima asked Midoriya what kind of music he liked. Kirishima, what kind of music do you listen to? Izuku, I usually listen to Western rock bands. Everyone began to give Izuku strange looks. He could sense that they were staring at him. Kirishima, you listen to Western music like American bands? Izuku, yes I do. Is that a problem? Kirishima, no problem, but it was unexpected. Jiro, who are your favorite bands? Midoriya. Izuku, I listen to Iron Maiden, Dream Theater, Camelot and Circus Maximus Okako. What genre of music do they play? Izuku, mainly metal. As they arrived to their destination, Izuku could feel as if was getting weird stares by his friends. So they went in as rented a room and decided who was going to sing first, and Izuku volunteered to be first, so they asked him what he would sing. So since the karaoke bar had a special song menu, so Izuku could read what song titles were there. He passed his finger on the title of a song, Bullet for My Valentine's Song, Road to Nowhere. As the song began slowly, Kirishima, Jiro and Yurika were interested in hearing Izuku's singing voice, and when Izuku began to sing the three were captivated by his voice, and when the song sped up they were just in awe as to how Izuku was a very talented singer. Just as the song Izuku chose ended, Jiro and Yurika were about to sing a duet, but Yurika got a call from her parents and she needed to head back home. Since it would only be 3 people left, they decided to call it a day, and even though nobody else got a turn to sing, they were happy that they heard Izuku sing. So the group of 4 headed to the train station together, and when their stops were called they said goodbye and headed home. As the stops for both Kirishima and Yurika came up, the only person who was left was Jiro, and Izuku noticed she was still there, so he asked her, Izuku, how many stops till we get close to where you live? Jiro, actually when we went to your apartment I noticed that we don't live that far from each other. I recently moved to that area. Izuku, what? That's crazy, we live in the same area. That's cool, I wouldn't have imagined that we lived near each other. As their stop came up they began to talk a bit more about their families, like how Izuku lost his father in an accident when he was working overseas. He was on his way back home when the flight he was on, the airplane's engine blew up. Jiro thought that was sad, and she realized how fortunate she was to have both mom and dad by her side. As they reached a fork in the road they went separate ways. It would take 2 weeks for the results of the UDA entrance exams to be released, so for the time being Izuku kept working out and training his quirks to be on top of his game when suddenly he heard a knock at his door. As Izuku approached the door he answered the buzzer. Izuku, hello, who is it? All Might, it's I, All Might, and I brought 2 important people who wish to meet you personally. Izuku, hey All Might, okay, who are these people? Go wish to meet me. As Izuku felt cautious he used his vibration vision and saw the silhouette of All Might, so he answered the door. As All Might left his muscle form he introduced a man who was zombie-like named Izawa and a mouse-like creature named Nizu. Nizu, hello Izuku. Midoriya, my name is Nizu and I'm the principal at UDA. It's an honor to meet you. Izuku, likewise Principal Nizu. Not to be rude, but what is this about? Izawa, well young man, it was decided that instead of you waiting 2 weeks for your results we'd come to you personally and say welcome to UDA. Nizu, even with your disability you were able to earn the max number of points, and we haven't seen anyone like this since the blind Ronin. Izuku, well I've been trained by him for the past 10 years. Nizu, well that would explain the similar fighting style. So what do you say? I personally am admitting you into UA because I believe you have what it takes to be number 1. Izuku, it's always been my dream to become a hero who is able to make a difference in other people's lives. Nizu, then young man I welcome you to UA. As the 3 adults finished the conversation with Izuku they heard a sound of a key going into the door, and as the door opened it was Izuku's mother. Inko, honey I'm home. One of the other nurses was able to cover my overnight shift so I came home early. As Inko looked at the entrance of her home she noticed 3 pair of shoes that belonged to adults. Inko, honey, do you have guests? Izuku, hey mom, yeah we have guests and I think it's best you come into the living room quickly. Inko walked into the living room. She noticed All Might and Eraserhead sitting on her couch as she stared in awe as the number 1 hero and an underground hero sat in her home. All Might, hello Mrs. Midoriya, we're here to personally invite your son to be a student of UDA. Inko, my son passed the entrance exam? Nizu, yes ma'am, allow me to introduce myself. I am Principal Nizu, and when we observed your son in action and we believe he has what it takes to be the best pro. As Ms. Midoriya wept tears of joy that her son was going to make his dream come true. So as this meeting ended the pro heroes left and Inko was at a loss for words because her son was going to achieve his dreams. It's been a few weeks as Midoriya took the entrance exam and spoke to the teachers who personally went to his home and told him he was accepted into the prestigious school. So now the first day of his high school life was about to begin and he made his way to school. He could sense that he was being stared at because of how he looked. /N, in this story Izuku looks a bit older and has a goatee. As Izuku walked into his class he heard familiar voices. It was none other than Jiro, Kirishima, Yayorozu, Ashido and Yurika who greeted him as he walked into the class. As soon as Izuku took a couple steps he was faced with a guy who seemed more machine than man. He introduced himself as Tinya Itza. Itza, colored lenses are not allowed in school, now remove them before we have a problem. As Itza tried to reach for Izuku's face to forcibly remove his glasses, Izuku smacked his hand away as he pulled out a note signed from the principal himself to authorize the use of color lenses. Itza, I'm sorry, I didn't know these were your prescription lenses. Izuku, it's best not to assume before you know the whole story. As Izuku took a seat in the middle of the classroom everyone began conversing among each other. When the door opened it was Izawa, and instead of having his class participate in the opening ceremony like all the other classes he decided it was best to see if any in his class had potential. As soon as they were about to head to the P.E field the classroom door slammed open. It was a sandy blonde-haired kid from the vibrations being output. Izuku knew that it was Katsuki. Aizawa, well, young man, care to explain why you're late? Katsuki, my alarm clock didn't go off. The second Katsuki caught a glimpse at Izuku, he had become like a wild man and started swearing, so from that day on he was known as the unstable hothead. Katsuki, oi. Blind bitch, how were you allowed to pass the entrance exam? Your crippled ass doesn't deserve to be here. I'm the one who's going to be the new #1 hero. As everyone in the class heard him call Izuku blind bitch, only Aizawa and the rest of the teachers knew Izuku's condition. As the class began murmuring as to why he was called blind, Izuku removed his shades. As they saw his eyes glazed over, he spoke to his class. Izuku, at the age of 4 I was blinded by a villain with a fire quirk. This villain believed that those with weak, useless, or non-existent quirks weren't meant to be heroes, but I lost my sight while protecting a kid who was being attacked. Aitsa, how are you to be a hero while you can see? Izuku, for the past 10 years I've been trained by the former #1 hero, the blind Ronin. Due to his help I was able to see without using my eyes, and I've learned to adapt. The whole class fell silent and they did not pity Izuku, but they had respect for him to continue to follow his dream even though he had a disability. Aizawa began to wonder what if some of the students didn't believe Izuku had what it takes to be a hero, and so he spoke. Aizawa, well, Mr. Bakugo, if you believe Midoriya isn't fit to be a hero, how about I propose a challenge? Izuku, what kind of challenge do you have in mind, sensei? Aizawa, I propose all students of Class 1A and 1B are to fight Midoriya to prove himself to be worthy of attending the school. As this challenge was brought before Izuku, many thought he would back down and go to a different high school, but he shocked everyone. Izuku, I accept the challenge and I will prove everyone wrong that I am worthy of becoming a hero. Aizawa had a small smirk and said, be ready after the opening ceremony, go to the P. field and prepared yourself for your trial. So Class 1A had gone to the opening ceremony, but as it ended Aizawa stepped up to the podium and announced the challenge for Classes 1A and 1B, and Aizawa called Midoriya to the stage and asked him to speak. Izuku, hello Classes 1A and 1B, my name is Izuku Midoriya. The challenge proclaimed by Aizawa sensei is to see if I'm worthy to become a hero with a major disability. I am blind, I haven't been able to see since I was 4. Now this challenge, which was proclaimed by Aizawa sensei, will begin during lunch and I'll be waiting on the P. field, so please nobody hold back and come at me full force. As Izuku walked off stage and headed towards the P. field while being escorted by Principal Nizu, but unknown to Principal Nizu his emotions were being read by Izuku. Izuku, Principal Nizu, please relax yourself, I'll be okay, I've learned from the greatest heroes, I'll be okay. Nizu, how? Izuku, I read your emotions through my vibration vision. Everyone gives off a different vibrations based on the emotions. Nizu, is there anything you need before we begin this silly challenge? Izuku, I don't need anything, I've been using it in plain sight. This cane I use was made by the blind Ronin and it becomes a staff, twin clubs, and nunchucks, so I'll be okay. The moment of truth was about to begin and Izuku sat in the middle of the field in a lotus position, meditating, sharpening his senses, waiting for the two classes to arrive. As he waited he remembered the words of his master, Izuku's mind. Kenshi, Izuku, remember when facing a dangerous situation such as fighting multiple opponents, remain calm and relax and focus. If you let your mind get clouded it will be death. As Izuku Midoriya continued meditating on the P. field, he felt a rumble of footsteps as both Classes 1A and 1B have stepped on the field. Izuku felt like he was going up against the army of 300. As Izuku's meditation was about to wrap up he heard his master's words echo in his head one last time. Kenshi, Izuku, remember when facing a dangerous situation such as fighting multiple opponents, remain calm and relax and focus. If you let your mind get clouded it will be death. As everyone had began to stare at Izuku, he slowly stood up and transformed his walking tool into a small staff. As the ground on which they stood upon began to rumble, Izuku knew that his charge had begun. As 10 people from the army charged at Izuku, he completely dominated the 10 who rushed him, and this is where his instincts took over. He grabbed his staff and dove straight into the mixed classes of 1A and 1B. As Izuku dove into the crowd he began kicking ass and everyone around him was shocked that he was combat proficient. This made both classes try harder to beat Izuku. As Izuku felt the ground rumble Izuku was jumping backward, and as he was able to avoid the attack as Izuku collected his footing and he felt cold, he noticed that someone uses an ice quirk. All of Class 1B was frozen and Class 1A was left. Izuku used his vibration vision and sensed where they were. He also heard the sound of an engine. As he pinpointed the location of the sound, Izuku lifted his arms up and trapped everyone in a telekinetic grip. As Izuku did this he activated one for all at 2%. As he slammed his hand down where the other students groaned in pain, the trial was over, but Katsuki, being a bitch, got a cheap shot and blasted Izuku's back with an explosion at full power, but the moment the explosion almost made contact with Izuku it was blocked by the repulsion quirk that manifested when one for all and his telekinetic quirk got fused. As it bounced off of Izuku it went straight back to Katsuki, who was blasted by his own power multiplied by 2. As everyone witnessed this they all began to think that Izuku had what it takes to be a pro. As Aizawa had called this challenge to an end, Izuku just let his body drop as he was breathing heavily. The few students that rushed to see if he was okay were Kirishima, Jiro, Okuko, Mina and Yaoyorozu. These were his first friends. As they helped him up they escorted him to the nurse's office. Kirishima, Midoriya, bro, you are awesome, I didn't know you had this kind of talent. Mean it, you were amazing. I just couldn't move because I was amazed at your dodging. Yaoyorozu, a job well done. You've proven yourself to be worthy of being in the hero course. Jiro, you okay? Just take it easy and try to move slowly. Your body was put through a lot before they got any further. They heard that Aizawa had an announcement to make and he said to the classes of both 1A and 1B, but they thought out class 1B so they could hear this message. Aizawa, classes, may I have your attention please? These are some words I'd like to share with you. Always remember, never underestimate your opponent no matter how the appearance is. Never assume you've won the battle. Overconfidence will be your downfall. Midoriya, you know these words to be true, correct? Izuku, yes, this was the same saying the blind Ronin would always tell me. Aizawa, well then, being trained by the former number 1 hero has its perks. Now take the syllabus and read it so you know what to expect in my class. Midoriya, I have an audio version for you on this flash drive. Now you may head to the nurse's office. As all the students who saw the disabled young man being escorted to the nurse's office, they couldn't believe that they had gotten their asses kicked by him. After hearing the quote that Aizawa-sensei said, they all gained some knowledge to never forget. As the group who escorted Izuku to the nurse's office, the one who seemed most worried was Jiro. The others were all thinking the same thing, that she was developing feelings for him. She was too proud to admit it. As they reached the nurse's office, recovery girl had noticed it was fatigue and a few bruises. She gave Izuku a kiss on the forehead and he felt as good as new and was dismissed immediately. As the small group that consisted of Jiro, Kirishima, Okako, Ashido, and Yaoyorozu left the school, Yaoyorozu was picked up by her personal driver. She offered everyone a ride home. Kirishima, Ashido and Okako lived a bit far so they got a ride home. Izuku and Jiro lived close to each other so they decided to ride the train home together. Izuku, hey Jiro, did I hurt you during the time I grabbed everyone with my telekinetic slam? Jiro, it hurt a bit but don't worry, I'm okay, but I didn't know you had that kind of power. Izuku, that wasn't my full power, that was 2% of what I can really do. As Jiro looked dumbfounded that Izuku had more power, she couldn't believe it. As they got in the train, they were 3 stops from home, so the rest of the train ride was in silence. They got off their stop and headed for home. As the two came to a crossroads, they went home until Jiro ran to Izuku and asked him, Jiro, Midoriya, do you want to hang out tomorrow after school? Izuku, sure, let's hang out tomorrow, just the two of us, right? Jiro, sure, it's a date. At that moment Jiro caught the word date slip from her lips and she ran all the way home. As Izuku processed the word date and he grew a deep red blush. As he got closer to home, he walked inside to hear his mother in the kitchen and he asked her, Izuku, Mom, you're home early, what's the occasion? Inko, honey, are you okay? Your face is red? I'm home because I have some vacation time. Izuku, it looks like I got a date tomorrow. This made Inko faint from excitement and she was happy that Izuku was going out with a girl. The next day, as Izuku walked to school and walked into the hallways, and he heard the murmuring from the other students. The things said were, he's the disabled student who held his own against classes 1A and 1B. As Izuku walked near his classroom, he was greeted by Kirishima. Kirishima, hey Midoriya, man, you really kicked out asses yesterday. Izuku, hey Kirishima, sorry, but it was a challenge that Aizawa declared on his own. Kirishima, let's get into class before it gets later and we get in trouble. Izuku, yeah, let's go in before we get a tardy. As the students walked into class, they began to wonder what they would do next since the proclamation of Aizawa's challenge was made yesterday. As Aizawa walked in the classroom, Aizawa, alright students, settle down, we will have 2 special heroes joining us for this lesson. As the class began murmuring with excitement as to how we'll be joining them, and the heard a voice boom, All Might, for I am here. Walking into class like a regular person. First it was All Might who walked into the classroom wearing his Golden Age costume as Kirishima shouted, and at that same moment Izuku sensed the presence of someone familiar. Kenshi, really All Might, must you walk in and shout like that every time you enter a room? Aizawa, class, you all know All Might is the number 1 hero, but the previous number 1 hero is the blind Ronin, and these two will grade you for this next class assignment. As Midoriya's eyes filled with tears and his emotions of joy, Kirishima whispered to Midoriya, Kirishima, hey bro, you okay? Izuku, why yeah, I can't believe my master is in this room. Kirishima, hey. As Kirishima made this loud expression that caught everyone's attention, and Aizawa asked what the commotion was about until he remembered what he was told during the entrance ceremony. Aizawa, Midoriya, I'm sure you're the happiest right now to be able to sense the presence of the man who trained you. Kenshi, did you say Midoriya was here? Izuku, how have you been, master? I hope you're well. As Kenshi followed the voice that belonged to Izuku, his eyes filled with tears, and when he got closer and used vibration vision to see the development of his disciple, and he hugged him. Kenshi, I'm sorry I couldn't complete your training and I left without saying goodbye. Izuku, it's all right master, I had help and I've made great allies. Kenshi, I can sense the power you're emitting has gone to another level since I last saw you. All Might, well Kenshi, you did ask I train him in your place and I kept my promise. As the whole class erupted in confusion as to how Izuku received training from the former number 1 hero and the current number 1 hero, Aizawa had silenced the whole class and made an announcement. Aizawa, we will be having a heroes vs villains battle. The class will be divided into hero teams and villain teams. All of you submitted hero costume designs, so grab the case with your seat number. Kenshi, Izuku, I have a special costume for you. All Might had designed this, so it's a gift from both of us. As everyone changed, they all waited for Izuku and were asking what kind of costume he'd have that was made by 2 heroes. As they heard footsteps approaching, they turned around to see Izuku. Everyone looked at Izuku dressed like a badass, and he received compliments even though he couldn't see what he looked like. The suit he wore felt flexible, and so All Might announced the teams. All will be canon, but I'm making a change. Team A will consist of Izuku Midoriya and Kyukajiro. Team D will consist of Katsuki Bakugo and Tinya Aitsa. Heroes, you will have 15 minutes to form a strategy to either capture the villains or tag the weapon they are guarding. Jiro, do you have a plan of attack or any specific strategy? Izuku, yeah, I have a couple ideas. Izuku said this in his battle meditation, and while using vibration vision he could see the layout of the hideout and noticed something on the 5th floor. Izuku, Jiro, I'm going to lift you with my telekinesis to the 5th floor, so let me know if you see them there. As Izuku did that, she slowly ascended to the 5th floor window and saw he was right on the money, and so he asked her if the window could be opened, but for some weird reason they could be opened. The plan was coming together nicely. As he gently brought her down, they formed a solid plan. Izuku, I want you to go through that window and incapacitate Aitsa with your sound quirk. Is there a way to make the frequency higher? Jiro, yeah, I can make it a bit higher so I can tag the bomb and we can easily win. In the observation room, Kenshi, All Might, I hope you will give me the play-by-play. All Might, of course I will. Old friend Kenshi, on a scale of novice to master, where would you rank Midoriya? All Might, I'd say he's ready to take the mid-apprentice step. Kenshi, I see he's grown powerful in my absence. All Might, 3, 2, 1. Let the simulation begin. As Izuku lifted Jiro to the window as planned, they decided to divide and conquer. As Izuku stormed the enemy's 1st floor, he was met by Katsuki. They began to fight without hesitation, but Katsuki's mind was unstable. He only held rage, which was his downfall. As Izuku found an opening, H countered and tied up Katsuki with the capture tape around his arms and legs. Katsuki Bakugo, you're eliminated. This was announced over the intercom, and Aitsa began to facepalm because Aitsa knew that he was unstable and would easily get captured first. As Aitsa was distracted, he was incapacitated by Jiro with the sound waves she emits through her boots. As Aitsa was incapacitated by the sound waves, Jiro ran towards the bomb and tagged it. As All Might announced on the intercom, the hero team wins. As Izuku and Jiro heard this announcement and threw their arms in the air and yelled with joy. As Jiro the downstairs at the hideout and ran towards Izuku and hugged him, she hadn't realized what she had done since she was overwhelmed with joy after winning. In the observation room, everyone's thoughts, she totally has a thing for him. Kenshi, what just happened? All Might, the girl your disciple was teamed up with is feeling for him. Kenshi, so my disciple has grown in more ways than one. I'm proud of him. Back at the training field, when Jiro realized what she was doing, she pushed Izuku away and she was blushing furiously. Izuku, getting frisky, I see. Izuku began to smirk while Jiro continued to blush a deeper shade of red. Jiro, shh, shut up. As everyone in the observation room was laughing and ready to make jokes about the two lovebirds. As they returned to the observation room, the first to speak was Kenshi. Kenshi, Midoriya, I'm proud of how much you've grown. I trained you since the age of 5 and you've exceeded my expectations. Izuku, thank you master. I hope I continue to live up to your expectations. All of the other combat exercises are the same as manga/anime. As the school day ended, everyone was headed home except Jiro and Izuku because they had a date. After the hero vs villain training, the school day went by quickly and uneventful as the rest of the lessons were basic. Hero 101. At the end of the day, Izuku was waiting at the front gate for Jiro when he sensed the presence of the blind Ronin and they began to speak. Kenshi, why are you still here? School ended 7 minutes ago. Izuku, I'm waiting for a friend. Kenshi, I'm glad you're making friends. Listen, I'd like to apologize for leaving out of the blue. Izuku, it's okay, you had things that needed to be taken care of. As Kenshi was about to explain the rest of the situation about why he left, he and Izuku sensed the presence of someone approaching. Jiro, hi Midoriya, are you ready? Izuku, yeah, let's go, I know a nice place to eat. Kenshi, you've got a date, well don't let me keep you. As Kenshi left them alone, Jiro began to blush like crazy, and so both Izuku and Jiro left. They went to the diner where he met Mina and Momo. As they enjoyed the meal, Jiro asked if he could go to the park. Izuku, is there any special reason why you want to go to the park? Jiro, well after school I go to the park nearby and play guitar for the kids there. As the two made their way to the park, they saw a group of kids, and when they saw Jiro they all became happier. As the kids saw Izuku, they asked Jiro, kids, any, Jiro Oni-chan, is that your boyfriend? Jiro began to blush like crazy and she said no, but Izuku could sense Jiro's emotions through vibrations, and Jiro asked the kids if they wanted to hear her sing, but it had gotten late and the kids had to go home before it got later, and it was just Izuku and Jiro at the park together. And Izuku spoke and it surprised Jiro. Izuku, Jiro, any reason why you wanted to come to the park? Jiro, well I wanted to come here because the environment at night is beautiful. Izuku, don't worry, I can sense changes in the environment I'm in, and when it rains I could see the ripples that the rain leaves, and it's like I could see again. When Jiro heard this she fell silent. She forgot that he was blind for a second and she realized that she didn't notice his outward appearance but his inward appearance. She, without noticing what she was doing, she wrapped her arms around Izuku and pulled him close for an embrace. Izuku was a bit confused but decided to embrace her back. As the sun set on their date, Jiro noticed this and had to get home quickly. Izuku, if you have to get home I'll walk you on live close to each other anyway. Jiro, thanks, I appreciate the gesture, but I'll warn you my dad is somewhat overprotective. As the two walked home they approached the crossroads that separated them, and Izuku escorted Jiro home, and the second she reached her door she pulled her house key out when suddenly the door slammed open with a man yelling and hugging Jiro. The man looked to be in his early 40s or late 30s, but as Jiro said he was overprotective as he stopped hugging his daughter he noticed Izuku. Kitoku, hello young man, what business do you have here? Izuku, I was just escorting your daughter home. Jiro began to blush and her father lost it and fainted. Izuku sensed the vibration of the thud and asked Jiro, Izuku, did I say something wrong? Jiro, no, I'll deal with this when he wakes up. Izuku, okay if you say so, I'll see you tomorrow. But before Izuku was about to go home, Jiro gave Izuku a kiss on the cheek, and after she did this she couldn't believe what she did and so slammed the door and ran to her room, while outside Izuku grew a red blush and made his way home. After the date that Izuku and Jiro shared, Jiro was the only one who felt awkward about it. The next day, the following day at school, was rescue training with the pro hero number 13 for security purposes. Blind Ronin was allowed to join in as a supervisor to the class. As they got in the buses to get to USJ, a girl with a frog-like appearance asked Midoriya, Azui Tsuyu, Midoriya-chan, how is it that you came to be as talented as the Blind Ronin? Izuku, Azui, I was trained by him starting at the age of 5. Kenshi, he has surpassed my every expectation so far. As the Blind Ronin chimed in the conversation, everyone was in awe to have a former number 1 hero with them, on top of having Eraserhead with them. Before more questions could be asked, they had arrived at USJ only to be greeted by pro hero number 13. Number 13, hello Aizawa and Kenshi. Kenshi, hello old friend, we meet again. As they were about to enter the USJ facility, the Blind Ronin stopped everyone from entering and asked Izuku, Kenshi, do you sense that? Izuku, yes, the cold shift in the air, I have a bad feeling about this, let's be on our guard. As everyone wasn't sure what Izuku and Kenshi were talking about, they walked inside USJ only to hear Kirishima say, Kirishima, this place has fake villains too. As pro hero number 13 understood what Kenshi and Izuku were talking about, they heard the leader speak before he had his army attack the young heroes in training. Shigaraki Tamura, my name is Shigaraki Tamura and we've come to kill All Might, he said as he furiously scratched his neck. Aizawa, well, too bad he's not here. Shigaraki, we'll make him show up, maybe killing these kids will cause him to show up faster. Kenshi, if you want these kids you'll have to kill me. The former number 1 hero he Blind Ronin as Kenshi unsheathed his katana. Villains thought he was dead, but they didn't expect to face a former number 1 hero, but they all underestimated him since he was blind, and so they all charged at Kenshi. Little did they know they were trapped in his range as he used a telekinetic slash. As the villains felt as if they'd been cut by his sword and they began to fear the power he possessed. It wasn't until Izuku felt a tremor and yelled out to his master, Izuku, look out master. It was too late. Kenshi took a powerful attack from what Izuku could sense through vibration vision. It looked like a monster. Izuku couldn't sense movement from his master, then he did the unexpected and ran towards the battlefield with staff in hand and began knocking out every villain in his path until he was surrounded by the villain army. They all launched their quirks simultaneously. Before the impact, Izuku activated repulsion, so all the enemy's attacks bounced off him and attacked the villains. Class 1A was in shock to see Izuku handle himself against an army, but like his master he was blindsided by the beast. As he was sent flying in the same direction as his master, he landed in a puddle of blood. As he struggled to get to his feet, heard his master's voice. Kenshi, Izuku, is that you? Izuku, master, what happened to you? As silence fell and he could no longer hear the voice of his master, Izuku composed his senses and used vibration vision, and on the ground giving off vibration was the blood that was draining from the huge cavity in his chest. Izuku's hand touched handle of Kenshi's sword and he picked it up. As Izuku picked up this sword that once belonged to his master, he felt the beast attacking Aizawa. As he ran towards the direction the screams of agony were coming from, Izuku began slashing the air using telekinetic power as an extension for the sword. In anger, Izuku began to cut down the villains as it rained blood. Shigaraki had commanded the Nomo to kill Izuku. As Class 1 saw in fear and worry that their classmate was going to get himself killed, Izuku tapping into 100% of One for All and channeled it into his telekinetic quirk and sliced and diced the Nomo until the pros arrived, thanks to Aitsa, who was able to slip away so he could find pro reinforcements. What the pros saw was a bloodbath of epic proportions. Shigaraki Tamura was genuinely afraid as Izuku threw the sword at Tamura's direction, controlling the direction with his telekinesis. Kurojiri reached Tamura in time to warp out of USJ. As the blade returned to Izuku's hand, he ran towards his master, who still lay bleeding. As he lifted his head and spoke to him. Izuku, master, I'm sorry, I'm a useless disciple. I couldn't save you. Kenshi, Izuku, my boy, don't worry. I see how much you've grown towards your goal as a hero and as a person. You made friends who are there for you. Izuku, please master, hang on, we'll get help. Can I get a medic? Kenshi, my time has come. Take this note. As Kenshi lay dead in his disciple's arms, Izuku let out a cry like no other as he was angry, sad, in pain. It wasn't until he felt a hand on his shoulder it was none other than Kyukajiro. Jiro, I know you're sad and upset. She was cut off as Izuku placed his master's head on his lap and slammed his head into Jiro's chest as he began to cry louder. When All Might approached Izuku, he spoke few words. All Might, he died a hero but left a promising disciple. As the rest of the pro heroes escorted the students out, Izuku was the one who was given the right to carry his master out of USJ, and he placed his body in a body bag till they could prepare it for the funeral. After this was over, everyone gave Izuku space, but the only person he wanted by his side was Jiro. Izuku, master, I'm sorry, I'm a useless disciple. I couldn't save you. Kenshi, Izuku, my boy, don't worry. I see how much you've grown towards your goal as a hero and as a person. You made friends who are there for you. Izuku, please master, hang on, we'll get help. Can I get a medic? Kenshi, my time has come. Take this note. As Kenshi lay dead in his disciple's arms, Izuku let out a cry like no other as he was angry, sad, in pain. It wasn't until he felt a hand on his shoulder it was none other than Kyukajiro. Jiro, I know you're sad and upset. She was cut off as Izuku placed his master's head on his lap and slammed his head into Jiro's chest as he began to cry louder. When All Might approached Izuku, he spoke few words. All Might, he died a hero but left a promising disciple. As the rest of the pro heroes escorted the students out, Izuku was the one who was given the right to carry his master out of USJ, and he placed his body in a body bag so they could prepare it for the funeral. After this was over, everyone gave Izuku space, but the only person he wanted by his side was Jiro. Chapter 14 begins. As Jiro stayed with Izuku after all students were escorted home, Jiro asked Izuku, Jiro, is there somewhere you want to go so we can talk? If you need an ear to hear you out, I'll gladly stay with you. Izuku, CC, can we go to the beach where we first met? Jiro, sure, let's go. As the two headed to the beach where they first met, and Jiro was ready to listen. Izuku, he was like a father to me. He taught me how to see, how to fight, and how to live, and now he's gone. Jiro, I could never understand how it feels like to lose someone important to me. When I saw you cry in anger and frustration, I couldn't help but want to be by your side. Izuku, thanks Jiro. I'm sorry to bother you with my problems. Jiro, you're not a bother, just let out everything you're feeling and everything will be okay. While Izuku was talking to Jiro, he remembered his master handed him a note. As he unfolded it, the note was written on leather paper and was in braille. As Izuku ran his finger on the page, it read, Hello Izuku, if you're reading this, it means I died. Through all the years I've trained you, I am grateful to have been able to pass my teachings on to someone who reminds me of myself. I never married nor had children, but when you walked into my life I felt as if I became a father teaching his son. Call this number XXXXXXXX. It belongs to my lawyer. I've put you down as the person who inherits my worldly possessions. Thank you Izuku, my precious disciple. As Izuku finished reading this letter, tears started running down his face and Jiro wondered what was written. Then Izuku explained to her. As his explanation ended, she developed tears in her eyes. Jiro, that's beautiful. Izuku, are you going to call? Izuku, yeah, I'm going to call before it gets any later. As Izuku had Jiro dial the number so he could talk to the lawyer, as the phone was ringing within the second time it rung, someone picked up the call. Hello, this the Takagi law firm. I'm Takagi speaking. Izuku, this is Izuku Midoriya. I'm calling in regards of Kenshi Takahashi. He passed away. Takagi, I see, then you are the blind Ronin's disciple. If so, then I'll tell you that he left everything he owned to you, and he left a huge lump sum of money. You will receive all this the day after his funeral, and I will meet you personally so you can sign the documents. Izuku, is it possible to bring someone with me? I'm also blind and I'd like to have a trusted friend by my side. Takagi, yes, that is fine, I'll see you at the funeral. As the call ended, Izuku was shocked to hear that Kenshi put him down in his will, so he asked Jiro, Izuku, Jiro, would you come with me to the funeral and to meet with my master's lawyer? Jiro, yes, I'll go with you. As they left the beach where they first met, they headed home. As they were about to split at the crossroads until both teens were tackled by their parents, Izuku by his mother and Jiro by her father and mother. Inko, Izuku Midoriya, where have you been? Do you know how late it is? I've been worried sick when I heard the Udate was attacked and they announced someone died. Izuku, I'm sorry mom, there was one casualty. It was the blind Ronin. He gave his life for us. As Izuku said this, Inko felt her heart break since Izuku's father died during an airplane malfunction and he didn't really have a father figure to guide him. It wasn't until Kenshi showed up that it felt as if Izuku had a dad to guide him. On the other side of He Street, Jiro was getting lectured by her parents. Kitoku, do you know how worried we were about you? Mika, we saw the news and we thought we lost you. Kitoku, when we heard that someone died we were afraid it was you. Mika, when we heard that my heart stopped. Jiro, the one who died was the teacher of my friend. As Jiro pointed in the direction of Izuku, her father remembered the young man who dropped his daughter off at home. Kitoku, young man, was your mentor really killed? Izuku, yes, and he sacrificed his life for us. Jiro, don't forget about how you also saved us. Izuku. As the adults looked at Jiro and wondered what she was talking about until she told them how Izuku went beast mode and began slaughtering villains after he saw how injured his master was. As the two families discussed this, they decided it was time to go home. As Izuku walked right inside his home, the house phone rang. This is an automated voicemail in regards to Udate. Hello Izuku Midoriya, it's Principal Nizu. We're calling to inform you that classes are cancelled for 2 weeks. In 2 days the funeral for the blind Ronin will take place. 2 days later, as it was time for the funeral, Jiro meets up with Izuku and head towards the funeral home. As the funeral proceeded as planned, All Might was about to make a speech. All Might, I was close friends with the blind Ronin and he always said he'd never take on a disciple, but he did, and he sits among us today. As the pro heroes who attended this service were shocked that their former colleague took on a disciple. All Might, Izuku Midoriya, will you please come to the podium and speak a few words? As Izuku walked towards the podium ready to speak. Izuku, hello everyone, my name is Izuku Midoriya and I was the disciple who was trained under the blind Ronin, and he wasn't just my master, he was like a father to me. He entrusted me to carry his legacy and I won't fail him. As the funeral ended, Izuku approached Takagi, the lawyer of Kenshi, with Jiro at his side. The discussion about the inheritance Izuku would receive had gone smoothly, and the next day he could inspect the property left to him by his master. As the funeral for Kenshi ended, many of the attending heroes were greatly in sorrow, weeping for the death of a courageous hero. Now Izuku was about to speak to Kenshi's lawyer, who had told him that he was going to inherit everything Kenshi had in this world. Kyukajiro was with Izuku, making sure he wasn't going to get cheated from this guy. The talking went on, and it was revealed that Kenshi was extremely wealthy since he owned property and invested in companies, so all the share of money that belonged to him now belongs to Izuku until the day he dies. Izuku was overcome with tears that his master had left him a lot, even though they weren't related by blood. Before Izuku made his signature, Jiro double-checked the documents to make sure Izuku wasn't going to get cheated. After some time, Jiro finished checking the documents and everything was in the clear. Jiro told Izuku that it was okay to sign, and so he did. After all that process was completed, the two teens headed home. Jiro broke the silence. "Jiro, Izuku, how are you feeling right now?" "Izuku, I'm hanging on. I never thought that I would lose him early in my life. I kinda hoped that he would keep training me until I've made it to the top." "Jiro, hey, make sure you smile and keep moving forward. Do you think your master would be happy knowing that you're sad? Keep his memory alive by continuing to get stronger and aim for the top." "Izuku, Jiro, I'm glad we met and I hope we keep being friends." "Jiro, I feel the same way." On the inside, Jiro felt kind of crushed. She didn't know why, but she probably began to develop feelings for Izuku. As the train announced the arrival of their station, they walked home and rested because it was back to school again the next day. The next day, as Izuku walked into class, everyone was wondering how he was doing since the passing of his master, but they gave him some space. As Aizawa walked into the classroom, he had a special announcement to make. "Aizawa, alright class, I know it's only been a few days since the USJ attack, but as heroes you need to learn that we don't have time to rest. In 2 weeks we will be hosting the Udata Sports Festival. This is where you show everyone what you're made of." Everyone was hyped because it gave them a chance to show off for pro heroes and possibly earn job positions for the future. Aizawa forgot to mention something very important as well. "Aizawa, I also forgot to mention Izuku Midoriya, you will be the freshman rep this year." Everyone was shocked. Izuku was confused. Katsuki was angry and began to throw a tantrum. "Katsuki, how did the blind bitch get my spot for freshman rep?" Aizawa, well, Mr. Impatient, he was granted this role by his actions during the USJ incident. At this time, Bakugo charged Izuku. Aizawa had dry eye, so he couldn't use his quirk at the moment, but Izuku stopped him with a telekinetic grip and launched into the blackboard, and he told Bakugo, "Izuku, you're predictable, you use the same moves. Control that anger or else the darkness will invade you and you'll head down the villain's path." Katsuki, Raya ha ha ha. As Katsuki was released from the grip, he tried to continue his assault on Izuku, but it was no use because Izuku could sense the vibrations that came from Katsuki. Before Katsuki could get close to Izuku, Aizawa used his hero tool and tied Katsuki up before he does something stupider. "Aizawa, okay class, from here on out you have 3 weeks to prepare for the sports festival. Make any necessary upgrades or changes to your hero costumes. You will be using them during the sports festival." Everyone was excited. This was the biggest event that was going to take place. Izuku decided that he was going to train and push himself past his limit in order to become number 1. "Aizawa, Midoriya, I almost forgot, Principal Nizu wants to see you after class." "Izuku, thank you for letting me know, Sensei." As class ended, Izuku made his way to the principal's office, and before he opened the door he sensed someone else other than the principal, so Izuku walked inside. "Izuku, hello Principal Nizu, you wanted to see me?" "Nizu, yes All Might, and I wanted to speak to you." "All Might, young Midoriya, how are you feeling? Do you think you'd be able to compete in the sports festival?" "Nizu, I know the death of Kenshi might still be in your thoughts, so let us know if you wish to sit out the festival." "Izuku, I'm fine. The death of my master shook me, but I think my master would be sad to see me in a miserable state. I will hold my chin up high because I vowed that I will surpass the expectations of my master." "Nizu, you are a strong young man. Do you have someone who's helped you by being a pillar of support?" "Izuku, a girl from my class named Kyukajiro. She's been a huge help to me." "Nizu, okay, that's good to hear. Now the last thing we need to talk to you about is your hero costume, the one you received from All Might and Kenshi. That was a temporary one because we were trying to recreate a hero costume that would best suit you." "All Might, the support class had their best student work on it, so it should be perfect." Knock knock asterisk. "Nizu, who is it?" "May Hatsum, it's Hatsum May from the support class. I finished the hero suit you requested." "Nizu, come in, the one who will wear the suit is here already." As the girl walked in, Izuku sensed her presence. For a short minute she only dropped of the case containing the suit. All Might and Nizu asked Izuku to put it on. He did just that, and when he finished putting it on, he was a spitting image of his master. They reforged a katana so that the blade was full in order to prevent any deaths. "All Might, this blade was forged with the toughest metal we could find. Your new suit is made of a very flexible material and doesn't restrict movement." "Nizu, we are giving you these upgrades because was want to ask you, will you take on the mantle of the blind Ronin?" Izuku shocked after hearing that they want him to take his master's hero name. He was hesitant to respond. "That's Han." All Might spoke. "All Might, young Midoriya, I ask this of you because you having the disability means you can pro the world wrong just like your master did many years ago. Since you are his successor and I also chose you to be my successor and the Ninth Bearer one for all, this is the opportunity to announce to the world, for I am here. All Might, this blade was forged with the toughest metal we could find. Your new suit is made of a very flexible material and doesn't restrict movement. Nizu, we are giving you these upgrades because was want to ask you, will you take on the mantle of the blind Ronin?" Izuku shocked after hearing that they want him to take his master's hero name. He was hesitant to respond. That's Han All Might spoke. All Might, young Midoriya, I ask this of you because you having the disability means you can prove the world wrong just like your master did many years ago. Since you are his successor and I also chose you to be my successor and the Night Bearer one for all, this is the opportunity to announce to the world for I am here. Chapter 16 begins. After Izuku received the suit and sword from All Might and Principal Nizu, he began to think about how he was going to train during the 3 weeks before the sports festival. As Izuku walked back to class to pick up his backpack and anything else he forgot, he sensed someone was still there in his classroom. As he opened the door and used vibration vision, it was Jiro. Izuku, Jiro, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to head home first. Jiro, I was waiting for you. I thought you'd want some company on your way home. Izuku, thanks, I appreciate it. Then let's go home then. As Izuku and Jiro went home together, Izuku was lost and thought about how to train himself for 3 weeks, and Jiro broke Izuku's concentration as she spoke. Jiro, hey Izuku. Izuku, yeah, what's up? Jiro, is it possible if R can teach me hand-to-hand combat? Izuku, yeah, I can teach you, but why his sudden interest? Jiro, well, I want to learn because maybe I won't have to depend on using my quirk all the time. Izuku, okay, I'll teach you what I know. Jiro, thanks, I appreciate it. After saying this, she gave him a big hug without realizing it, and when she finally noticed what she was doing, she looked at Izuku and he said this. Izuku, seems like you're getting friskier than last time. Jiro had a very deep red blush and ran all the way home without looking back. Izuku then shouted, catch you tomorrow. When Jiro got home, she opened her cell and texted Momo to see what she was feeling. Jiro, hey Momo, do you have a sec to talk? Momo, Jiro-chan, what's up? I'm not busy. Is something wrong? Jiro, is it normal to feel like you have butterflies in your stomach when you're around a specific person? Momo, let me guess, you feel that way when Midoriya is around. Jiro, how did you know? Momo, everyone in class and even the teachers know you have a thing for Midoriya. Do you only like him out of pity because he's blind, or do you genuinely like him for who he is? Jiro, to be honest, I like him. I don't care if he can't see. I admire his persistence to following the footsteps of his master. Momo, if you like him, tell him already or else you'll miss your chance. Jiro, I'll tell him after the sports festival. As Momo and Jiro dropped the conversation, Jiro only thought about what Izuku would say to her liking him, until she received a call. Incoming call from Izuku. Izuku, hey Jiro, sorry to bother you, but I wanted to let you know that training begins at 7:30 sharp. Jiro, okay, where do I meet you? Izuku, meet me at the beach where we first met. Time skip 3 weeks. After Izuku had trained Jiro in hand-to-hand combat, he also was able to brush up on the basics, so everyone wore their hero suits and Izuku used the hero suit and sword he was given. See the pics above. As everyone walked into the arena, Izuku was the last to leave, and the moment he stepped onto the field the crowd went wild. He heard the people say, crowd, the blind Ronin is back from the dead. Since Izuku was the freshman representative for his year and he was a spitting image of his master, so he walked to the podium. The arena fell silent. Izuku, I know what you're all thinking, but I am not the blind Ronin. I am his first and only disciple. His final words to me were to take up his mantle to become the new blind Ronin. I also am blind. On this day we here at Udata vow to uphold sportsmanship to the highest degree. I also want to tell my fellow competitors, give it everything, you've got no holding back, because I aim to win. The crowd erupted in a massive cheer that caused a mini earthquake. The people were moved to tears because of Izuku's speech. Midnight Sensei walked to the podium to announce the first event. Midnight, the first event is the obstacle course. Contestants head to the starting line. As Izuku and the rest of his class were on the starting line, tensions grew, and when the starting gun sounded, Izuku launched using one for all at 25%. Everyone was amazed at how fast he was. The first trial were robots from the entrance exam. Izuku unsheathed his sword to preform a telekinetic slash mixed with one for all. As he swung his sword, a massive gust occurred. Izuku continued to run until he got an area that was pure tight ropes in order to cross to the other side. Nobody had teach Izuku yet, but they were gaining quickly. Izuku then took a leap of faith and took a running start while using 40% of one for all. During the 3 weeks of training, Izuku can now use 40% of O.F.A. While using 40% of his power, everyone was worried that he wouldn't clear the gap, and he did. After landing on the other side, he rolled only to continue to run until everyone who saw him roll snapped out of it. They continued to chase him. The one person who was close to catching up with Izuku who wasn't affected by his awesomeness was Jiro. Then they reached the final obstacle. Izuku whispered into Jiro's ear, Izuku, I'll let you come in second place, trust me. Before Jiro could respond, Izuku's light her up bridal style and jumped over the obstacle. Once safely on the other side, Jiro continued to run, but Izuku took a minute to wait for those trying to catch up to the front as he sensed both Todoroki and Katsuki. Izuku triggered a massive explosion caused by the mines that were used as traps in order to make the final obstacle a challenge. Everyone was sent flying, so Izuku took advantage of that and ran using one for all, overtaking Jiro and landing in first place. Midnight, and the winner of the first challenge is Izuku Midoriya. Midnight, and the winner of the first challenge is Izuku Midoriya. As Izuku had crossed the finish line, he wasn't really tired, so he sat in lotus position and meditated until everyone who qualified to continue to the next round had arrived. Izuku sensed that everyone arrived, so he got up and decided it was almost time for the second event midnight. Now that everyone is here, time to announce the second event, which is the cavalry battle. In first place is worth 10 million points. As everyone begins to stare at Izuku, he senses the killer intent around him. After this, midnight still had something to pass midnight. The second event is also a team battle, so if your team is able to maintain enough points to prevent elimination, then all of you proceed to the individual fights. Izuku, Midnight Sensei, is it possible that I work on my own or this event? After those words came out of his mouth, everyone was extremely shocked that he would risk his opportunity by going alone. Izuku, I didn't say that to sound overconfident. I said this because I don't want anyone going easy on me, because I'm blind. Come it with everything you got. The stadium erupted with cheers and applause because Izuku didn't want any easy victories. He wanted everyone to give it their all, no holding back. Midnight, okay, now that everything is decided, at the sound of the starting gun you will begin. Everybody was paired in their teams, anxiously waiting for the start of the second event. Midoriya was his battle meditation, preparing himself for everyone to go after him. As he sensed a shift in killing intent coming from the other students, it meant that the event was about to begin. Click bang asterisk. As the gun sounded off as Izuku expected, they all rushed him. After saying he doesn't want anyone going easy on him since he was in his battle meditation before the event began, his movements were fluid like water. When some got too close to grab his headband, he used repulsion to push them away, and this went on for 15 minutes. When time expired, Izuku held onto his headband. Midnight, the winner of the second event, is none other than Izuku Midoriya. Now before we head to the individual battles, we will take a 10-minute breather. Izuku wasn't very tired, so he was going to stay in battle meditation mode until Jiro rushed to him and grabbed his arm. Jiro, hey Midoriya, congrats on the win. Izuku, hey Jiro, what's up? Jiro, nothing, just wanted to wish you luck in the upcoming fights, and I have something important to tell you after the festival is over. Izuku, okay thanks, and find me after the festival ends, then we can talk. Midnight, okay students, time for the festival to continue. In the first match we have Izuku vs Shinso. Now please make your way to the arena. As the two contestants made their way to the arena, the crowd began to cheer loudly, and when the two were in the center ring, Izuku sat in his battle meditation position, and this shocked the people present. Mike, begin. Izuku sat in meditation and Shinso began to speak. Shinso, do you underestimate me? Shinso, do you think you can win? Shinso, I bet you're a coward. Izuku didn't respond because he could sense this was his strategy to make him talk. He was reading Shinso's emotions from the vibrations he was giving off. Shinso, Raha. Shinso rushed Izuku, who was sitting in his meditation position. Before Shinso could do anything, he was flicked by one for all at 2% and sent him out of the ring. Present Mike, Izuku Midoriya is the winner. All fights go as canon. Present Mike, now we are nearing the end of the sports festival and we are at the semi-finals. Can we have Izuku Midoriya and Todoroki Shoto report to the arena? As Todoroki was already at the arena, and once Izuku arrived, Todoroki shocked the people. Todoroki, Midoriya, I will not fight you. Izuku, what? Why? Todoroki, I do not wish to hurt you, you're blind, and I don't wish to cause you more damage. Izuku, if you do, it will be as if you're spitting on the face of my dead master. Todoroki, no, that's not what I'm doing at all, I just don't want to hurt you. Izuku, if we want to be heroes, then we gotta overcome obstacles in our way. If you won't fight me at full strength, then you dishonor me and my master. Then I makes you unfit to be a hero. Todoroki, okay, you asked for it. Present Mike, let the battle begin. As Todoroki tried to finish this fight as he did with Siro, Izuku drew hit katana and channeled one for all to the blade. As Izuku sensed the range of the glacier was close, he slashed the glacier with one for all, causing it to be destroyed, sending Todoroki back. When out of the blue, he used his fire side to launch him towards Izuku. Izuku sensed the heat and launched a flurry of telekinetic combos that beat Todoroki unconscious. Present Mike, the winner is Izuku Midoriya. The final battle was Izuku vs Bakugo. As he entered the arena to face Izuku, he began to shout, Bakugo, listen up, Dekuile, when you are nothing compared to me. Present Mike, fight. In a swift motion, Bakugo was lifted by Izuku telekinetic grab and slammed out of the ring with 2% one for all, rendering Bakugo unconscious. Present Mike, victory goes to Izuku Midoriya. As the sports festival concluded, Jiro made her way towards Izuku and spoke. Jiro, Midoriya, can I talk to you? As the sports festival concluded, Jiro made her way towards Izuku and spoke. Jiro, Midoriya, can I talk to you? Izuku, sure Jiro, what's on your mind? Jiro, I can't tell you here, let's head home and I'll tell you when on the way home. As the two left U.A and headed home, the train ride to their stop was quiet, and when they got off, Jiro noticed they were near the beach where they first met. Jiro then grabbed Izuku's hand and walked him near the small beach. He then heard the sound of the waves. Izuku, Jiro, are we near the beach where we first met? Jiro, yeah we are, it's empty, so I thought it'd be a good relaxing place to talk. Izuku, okay, so what did you want to talk about? Jiro, well, we've known each other for some time and I feel like we get along really well and I want to be by your side. Izuku, what are you talking about? Jiro, what I'm trying to say is I like you, I want to be by your side. As these words left Jiro's mouth, she looked at Izuku, who appeared to be frozen in place, and she put her hand on his cheek hoping to get a response from him. Then he spoke in a tone more serious. Izuku, do you truly like me, or are you saying these words because you pity me? Jiro, how could you think that? I truly care about you. I want to be by your side. These feelings developed when I saw you at USJ. The will to never quit. The way you risked your life for everyone. I was attracted to that. I don't care if you're blind. I like you because you don't give up even with this disability. I know you're going to prove to the world that you can be the next #1 hero like your master was. Izuku, is this how you really feel? Jiro, yes, these are my true feelings. I hope you'll let me be by your side. Izuku, if you're okay with me and living with the fact that I'm blind, then I have to tell you the truth too. Jiro, what truth? Izuku, the truth is I love to hear your voice. I like when I sense your presence. You make me feel calm when you're around. When I lost my master you were there for me. When I felt lost, what I'm trying to say is that I love you. If you're willing to ACC. Izuku was cut off by Jiro, who planted a kiss on his lips to shut him up after she parted from the kiss. Jiro, if I truly wasn't in love with you, do you think I'd kiss you with such a passion? Izuku, if only I could see the beautiful face of my girlfriend, it would make this moment perfect. As Izuku embraced his new girlfriend, they made their way home until they got to a fork in the road. They parted ways. When Izuku got home, his mother was very proud that he won the sports festival. Inko, your father would be proud that you took first place in the sports festival. Izuku, thanks mom, that means a lot. Inko, is something wrong honey? Izuku, nothing is wrong but. Inko, but what? Izuku, I just got a girlfriend. As Inko cried tears of joy knowing her son got a girlfriend who accepts him for his disability. Izuku, well mom, I'm going off to bed. I'm pretty tired. Inko, okay honey, sleep well. The next day it was a half day at school. The students will learn where they will be doing their internship with Izuku. Okay, settle down class. Okay, I will show the results of the sports festival. Results go as canon. Jiro, excuse me sensei, why is it that Midoriya won but only received 1 vote? Before Izuku could explain, the classroom door slammed open and entered a man with a deep voice. He was dressed like a Native American. I've come to see Izuku Midoriya. I will be taking care of him during this internship. Izuku, hello Nightwolf, it's a pleasure to see you again. Nightwolf, likewise old friend. Izuku, okay class, meet former underground hero Nightwolf. He worked with me when I first started. Nightwolf, now Izuku Midoriya, for your internship I will train you to surpass your father. Izuku, you knew my father? Nightwolf, yes, he was a brave warrior and my closest friend. Izuku, my dad was a businessman. Nightwolf, what? Your mother is Inko Midoriya, correct? Izuku, yes, that's right. Nightwolf, we will speak more about this on Monday. Rest well this weekend and prepare yourself. Also tell your mother. Nightwolf says it's time. As the school day ended, the things Nightwolf said still lingered in his mind when Izuku got home, and to an unexpected surprise his mother was home early. Inko, hey honey, how was school? Izuku, hey, school was okay. Can I ask you something? Inko, sure, anything. Izuku, by any chance do you know the hero named Nightwolf? Inko dropped everything and Izuku began to worry, feeling the worried vibrations that she was giving off. Inko, sit down. Izuku, I've got a confession about your father. Inko, hey honey, how was school? Izuku, hey, school was okay. Can I ask you something? Inko, sure, anything. Izuku, by any chance do you know the hero named Nightwolf? Inko dropped everything and Izuku began to worry, feeling the worried vibrations that she was giving off. Inko, sit down. Izuku, I've got a confession about your father. Chapter 19 start. Inko, sit down. Izuku, I've got something to tell you about your father. Izuku, what is it? Inko, your father wasn't Hisashi Midoriya. Our family name isn't even Midoriya. Izuku, then who was my father? What's our actual family name? Inko, our family name is actually Takahashi and your father was Kenshi Takahashi A.K. of the blind Ronin. Izuku, what? But if master was my father, then why did he lie to me for 15 years? Inko, it was to protect both me and you. The family name Midoriya belonged to a friend of Kenshi's. We signed an agreement that he'd keep us safe. Izuku, what do you mean keep us safe? Inko, do you honestly think that if we kept Takahashi as our family name we'd be safe? Izuku, we would have become targets if not for his decision. Inko, that's right, I'm sorry for not telling you until now. Izuku broke out into tears, not knowing that he was spending time with his own father, and was crushed to know he held his dead father in his arms after he sacrificed himself for everyone at USJ. Inko, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but your father said it was for our safety. Izuku, I know now, so that's why I felt like he was my dad, and that's why he left me everything he owned. Before Inko could speak, the doorbell had rung. Ding dong. As Inko answered the door with tears in her eyes, she saw a familiar girl at the door. Jiro, hey Izu. Gya Inko, you're Izuku's friend Jiro, right? Jiro, yes I am. I'm sorry, did I catch you at a bad time? Inko, no dear, you didn't. Please come in. Jiro was surprised to see Izuku's mom crying, and when she walked into the living room only to see her boyfriend crying, she wondered what happened. Jiro, Izuku, are you okay? Jiro asked while having a hand on his cheek to show that she'd listen to anything that he'd like to get off his chest. Izuku, Jiro, when did you get here? Jiro, I just got here. Your mom let me in. Now tell me what wrong. Izuku, my mom lied to me about my father and she told me that my real father was none other than the blind Ronin. Jiro was shocked to hear this news, but she had a feeling that Izuku's and Kenshi's relationship was on another level than master and student. Jiro also noticed that the costume that he was given to use during the sports festival was similar to the blind Ronin's when he first appeared on the pro hero scene. As Izuku's hand was trembling and Jiro sat on the couch where her boyfriend was and she held his hand and said to him, "Jiro, your dad sacrificed himself to give us the future heroes a chance. If he gave his life for you, I think he wouldn't want to see you this sad." Izuku, yeah, you're right, I'm going to work harder to make dad proud. After this short conversation, the two had Izuku then hugged Jiro to show his girlfriend thanks for always being there for him. Inkoha walked into the living room after cleaning herself from all the tears only to see her son hug a girl. At that moment she let out a high-pitched squeal. Inko, eek. Both Izuku and Jiro were surprised by the sound only to discover Izuku's mom had seen the affection the teens were displaying. Jiro, hello ms. Midoriya, allow me to properly introduce myself, I'm Kyuka Jiro and I'm dating your son. Inko was excited knowing someone had feelings for her son who had a disability, but she felt that Jiro was looking past the disability and looking at Izuku for who he was. Inko, dear, no need to be so formal, just call me Inko. I'm glad to know someone had special feelings for my son. As Jiro and Inko spoke, they got along very well and the rest of the afternoon turned to night. Izuku escorted his girlfriend home but wasn't very worried because she lived close by. Izuku, my mom really likes you, I'm happy you guys can get along. Jiro, why wouldn't I be able to get along with my boyfriend? Mom, she's awesome. The walk to Jiro's house was short but she and Izuku were happy they could spend some time together before they headed to their internships as the weekends fly by quickly. Izuku, well, since we've stopped I sense that we are at your house. Jiro, thanks for walking me home. Promise me that you'll be safe during the internship. Izuku, I promise, but I ask you do the same, be safe. Well, I'll be heading home now. Jiro, wait. The next thing that happened as Izuku turned around, he felt someone's lips on his and after 2 minutes Jiro broke the kiss. Jiro, Izuku, you are irreplaceable and I won't find anyone like you, so please promise me that you'll come back safely. Izuku standing like a statue was a funny sight, but that kiss he was given held genuine feelings of love. While Izuku concentrated his vibration vision, he was able to get a visual of how tall Jiro was and he placed his hand on her cheek and he was about to lean in to kiss her until Jiro's dad, Kyotoku, what's going on out here? As Jiro's dad ruined the moment between the two teens, Izuku stood facing the direction of the man's voice and bowed to introduce himself. Izuku, hello, I'm Izuku Midoriya and I'm dating your daughter. Jiro's dad had frozen like a statue and wouldn't budge an inch. That's when Jiro decided it was time for them to part ways. It was finally time for Class 1A to head to their destinations for their work internships. Izuku was instructed to go to Hosu City to meet with Nightwolf. Before he got on his train, Izuku heard a familiar voice. It was none other than his girlfriend Jiro. Jiro, hey Izuku, please be safe, promise me you'll come back, okay? Izuku, I promise, I'm a man of my word, I won't do anything to make you sad. After Izuku uttered that last sentence, he felt Jiro's warm lips on his and there was a slight taste of strawberries due to her lip gloss. As Izuku boarded the train, he was using seismic sense and noticed Itza, but something was off about him until Izuku decided to try and pick Itza's brain. Izuku, hey Itza, are you okay? Itza, yes, I'm just fine, why do you ask? Izuku, there is a major change in your heart rate, I can sense it. I know you're upset about your brother being hospitalized. /N, everyone knows about Itza's brother who was attacked by the hero killer. Itza, what do you know? Izuku, I know that revenge isn't the way to cope with how you're feeling. Too much anger will cloud your judgment. Itza, I'll be just fine on my own. Izuku, just know I'll stand by your decision whatever it may be. Itza's stop had been called and he departed from the train with the words Izuku had spoken. As Izuku continued to ride the train until Izuku's stop had been called, he sensed he was near the outskirts of the city when he heard a voice. Nightwolf, hello Izuku, I see you're on time. Izuku, hello Nightwolf, what kind of training do you have for me? Nightwolf, I plan to teach you how to branch out your telekinetic power. You will gain a boost and learn abilities such as kinetic arrow. Izuku, great, where will we train? All I sense in this area is a tent. I also smell incense. Nightwolf, this is my small sanctuary here in this zone. We will train for 1 day in this small zone. 1 day is equal to 1 year, also you will not age. As Izuku began his first day of training, he progressed fairly well at the advancement of his new techniques. At the end of the first day, Izuku and Nightwolf spoke. Izuku, Nightwolf, my mother told me about my father. Did you also train him? Nightwolf, yes, but he left before his training was completed. Izuku, to visit me, correct? Nightwolf, your father Kenshi was one of my best friends and I was the one who taught him how to channel his telekinetic power into his sword. Izuku, wow, what changed my father? Nightwolf, it was your mother. When he had returned home from training with me, your mother and father met. She admired him while he aimed for the top of the hero rankings. Your mother asked to stay with him and after 2 years of dating they married and had you. Izuku, mom didn't tell me that she thought I couldn't handle the truth. Nightwolf, well, the day you were born was around the same time your dad made #1 hero. You probably know the rest from there, don't you? As the night went on, the two talked and went to sleep. As the two fell asleep, Izuku woke up to a nightmare and a cold sweat. Night Wolf, you've had a nightmare, care to talk about it? Izuku, it felt real, I heard someone killed my friend Itza, I could sense everything. What does this mean? Night Wolf, it probably means that it's something that will happen or won't happen. For the next day we will patrol at night. Next day time skip to night patrol. It was night time and time for the night patrol. Everything seemed quiet as they turned a corner. Izuku sensed two bodies that were laying on the floor. Before Izuku could run in the direction of the bodies, he heard a horrible screeching coming from the sky, and around him he sensed the same creatures that attacked USJ. Night Wolf, blind, run and run. Help the civilians find safety, I'll handle these creatures. As the two split up, Izuku runs towards the people lying on the ground when he hears a voice shout at him, run. It was the pro hero native. Izuku could distinguish the voice. As Izuku sensed someone behind him, he pulled his katana out and blocked his mystery opponent's sword. Hero killer, blind Ronin, we meet again, you who the man who was a true hero. Izuku, I'm sorry but the real blind Ronin has passed away, I am his son. Hero killer, well then are you skilled as he was? Izuku, let's find out, shall we? As Izuku and the hero killer clashed swords to see who will remain standing, as the hero killer tried to cut Izuku so he could paralyze him, it was no use. Izuku was dodging sword slashes until something got in between them. Izuku sensed the familiar being, it was a Nomu. The hero killer used that Nomu as a distraction to make a getaway. Izuku channeled one or all into the blade of his sword and massacred the Nomu. After that obstacle was out of his path, he used seismic sense and discovered the hero killer was still nearby, and Izuku used his new technique, kinetic bow, with a mixture of one for all. As Izuku charged his power until he let it go and landed the attack on the hero killer to knock him out unconscious, Izuku heard a voice from someone who was laying on the ground. Itza, Midoriya, you came. Izuku, I told you I'd stand by you whatever decision you would make, plus I wouldn't let a friend die. Pro heroes arrived at the scene when they realized that the hero killer had been captured. Everyone who was injured except Izuku was taken to the paramedics who were on standby near the area just as they left the ally where the battle took place. Just as everything was going in favor of the heroes, a flying Noma was about to snatch Izuku up. Everyone shouted, but to their surprise Izuku sensed it before they left the ally where they were. Just as the Noma was going to snatch Izuku away, he turned around and unsheathed his sword and split it in half. All pro heroes were amazed that Izuku was able to react quick enough to prevent himself from getting taken. The police officers who were near the area informed all the heroes that civilians in that area were all evacuated to a secure location, and those that were injured are being treated by the paramedics. Time skip. Next day, Izuku was in the hospital with Iida, who had gotten injured badly and was told the doctors did the best they could with treating his arm, but he will have a pretty bad scar and some internal damage. Izuku was getting a call. His phone informed him it was Jiro, his girlfriend. Izuku, hey Jiro, what's up? Jiro, I saw the news about Hosu City, I'm worried about you. Izuku, don't worry, I'm fine, things got a little dangerous but I'm okay. Itza got injured pretty bad but he'll be okay. Jiro, tell Itza I say get well soon, and I hope to see you again, I'm a little lonely without you. Izuku, okay, we'll be together again soon, let's go out on a date once the weekend come up, how's that sound? Jiro, great, I can't wait to see you again, well gotta go. Bye. As Izuku hung up the phone he grew an insane smile on his face, then was interrupted by multiple figures walking towards his direction. One of the figures was Night Wolf. Izuku couldn't identify the others until one of them spoke. Police chief, hello Izuku. Midoriya, I've heard about your actions and what I will say is that I've to give you a warning because you're not a licensed hero. This will be overlooked because you've captured the hero killer and saved your friend. Time skip. Itza's discharge. As the two were walking to the train station there was an uncomfortable silence until Itza broke it. Itza, Midoriya, I'm very sorry for dragging you into my problems, almost causing you to be killed in the process. Izuku, it's okay Itza, but just remember, don't let your emotions take over because it clouds your judgment. What would your brother say if he found out that you were being reckless and died because you tried to get revenge? Itza began to shed tears because he knew his actions were wrong, but he let hate and revenge take over. Izuku walked up to Itza and gave him a hug. Izuku, it'll be okay Itza, your brother will make a comeback, just remember if you let your emotions overtake you it could mean death. As the two approached the train they sat in silence. Once they got on they waited until their stop was called. All students were there and Izuku was tackled by Jiro. As they embraced each other Jiro began to blush after she did that in public. Everyone was dismissed and given an extra day off as everyone went their separate ways. Izuku and Jiro held hands until they got home. Jiro, hey Izuku. Izuku, yeah Jiro, what's? Jiro, I missed you. Izuku, I did too. The two kissed and it felt like a spark, they were meant to be together. As they broke the kiss, Izuku holding Jiro by her waist, as Izuku felt a presence of three people as they were standing in the middle of the fork in the road that divided where they lived. Izuku, I think we have company. Jiro looked behind Izuku and saw his mother, and she turned around and she saw her mom and dad. They had a smirk on their faces when they saw their daughter with her boyfriend. It had been 3 days after the hero killer incident and everyone was still on edge because they didn't know what else to expect. Izuwa walked into the class and made a brief announcement regarding the next phase of their education. Izuwa, okay students, we've been through a lot this time we've been together. Now we reach the semester finals, so prepare yourself because they will be tougher than any ordinary test we've given you. As class went on like a regular day, the Izuku and his classmates began to wonder what their exam was going to be on the exam. A third year who overheard the conversation couldn't help but tell them what usually went down for a semester final. Third year student, hey you first years, don't worry about the semester finals, it's usually the same every year. They make you fight the robots from the entrance exam, we'll hope that helps. See ya. Everyone felt relief after hearing the third year say what the exam was going to be based on. The only student who didn't see 100% certain was Izuku until he felt a hand on his shoulder. Jiro, Izuku, you okay? Izuku, Jiro, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm not 100% sure that this year's test will be the same as the years prior. Jiro, what do you mean? Izuku, well, we've been attacked by villains already and I fought with the hero killer. Who's to say that the teachers won't change the exam for us since it seems like we're being targeted? Jiro, I know what you mean, I think you might have a point. As lunch ended, classes resumed normally. The day went by quick when Aizawa announced that the midterm final would be tomorrow. Aizawa, okay, everyone get a good night's sleep because the final will be tomorrow. Time skip next day, as the students of Class 1A were seated waiting for Aizawa to give them their test. Aizawa, meet at training ground beta with your hero suits. As everyone approached the training grounds, they notice all pro heroes and the principal himself there in the midst. Nedzu, well, since we've been attacked by villains, we need to prepare you all to better defend yourself because we don't know what will happen in the future. So instead of fighting robots, you will fight the teachers. They will be wearing special equipment to prevent them from using 100%. Oh, and Midoriya, please bring your sword. Izuku, sure, let me guess, I won't be allowed to use it during the exam. Nedzu, that is correct, you will fight a teacher without your weapon to see if you can manage. Izuku, hahaha, leave the blind guy with a bigger disadvantage. It's fine, it would give me a chance to improve my hand-to-hand combat. Nedzu, okay students, your names will be announced with your partner who will team up with you. /N, every team is the same except Izuku and Jiro will pair up and Kota and Bakugo team up. As every team had gotten paired up, it was Izuku and Jiro. They wanted to know who it was going to be when they heard a booming voice, I am your opponent. Both Izuku and Jiro were expected to fight the number 1 hero and try to pass. Izuku cursed in his head, fuck All Might, well, do your best to try and pass, but I won't make it easy for you. Now that the rest of 1A took their exam, everyone was excited to see All Might's fight. As Izuku and Jiro made their way to the testing field, Izuku had already discussed a strategy with Jiro. The buzzer had sounded off. Jiro stuck her earphone jacks into the ground and began giving Izuku directions on All Might's position. Jiro, he's coming from 3 o'clock. Izuku prepared his kinetic bow as everyone in the observation room was confused about what he was doing. Like Jiro told Izuku 3 o'clock, he sensed All Might at that exact position, so he prepared a telekinetic arrow mixed with one for all. Once in range, he fired only to sense All Might get pushed back a couple feet. Everyone in the observation room were shocked to see All Might get pushed back. All Might then vanished while Izuku and Jiro couldn't trace his movements. They decided to escape to pass until near the exit. Izuku sensed All Might jumping down from the top of a building. Izuku, Jiro, I want you to run to the exit. I'll hold All Might back. Jiro, what are you talking about? Just as Izuku predicted, All Might was about to land on Jiro to capture her, but Izuku pushed her a good distance away with his telekinesis. She then heard Izuku scream in pain. All Might, hero, do you think I'd be foolish enough to let you escape? All Might was about to rush Jiro to capture him when he felt a hand grip tightly on his ankle, only to be tripped by Izuku. Izuku, we're not done here, you and I still have a score to settle. Don't think I'm finished just yet. Izuku stood up and channeled one for all at 50%, so All Might decided to take Izuku's challenge, and so the two began trading punches. The two trading punches completely forgot about Jiro because after 5 minutes a voice rung through the testing field, Nedzu, heroes win. All Might then had remembered that Izuku was only holding him back so Jiro could make it to the exit. As they headed towards the observation room, Principal Nedzu was about to announce what was going to happen during their summer vacation. Nedzu, okay class, so for your summer vacation you will all attend a training camp to become stronger because we don't know what will happen next. Next day, after all the classes were done with their final exams for the semester, Class 1A had to undergo a special summer camp to increase their quirk's power to prepare for their provisional license exam. As Class 1A were on the bus headed towards their destination, Izuku sat at the back of the bus holding Jiro's hands while she rested her head on his shoulder. Kirishima, hey Midoriya, what was the weird technique you used during the fight with All Might? Izuku, it's called kinetic arrow, just like shooting an arrow with a bow. I formed a bow and arrow with my quirk. Before anyone else could ask any questions, the bus came to a complete stop and Aizawa asked them to get off the bus. As everyone was off the bus, Izuku sensed 3 people approaching their group when they greeted them. Mandalay, hello Erasure, it's nice to see you again. Aizawa, hello Mandalay, thanks for helping you. Out with this favor, they met 2 of the 4 members of the Wild Pussycats. Izuku sensed Aizawa had planned something but didn't tell them. Izuku, Aizawa-sensei, can I have a head start? Aizawa, sure. As Izuku got the okay from Aizawa, he ran towards the edge of where they were standing and he began to channel one for all. At that moment, everyone saw Izuku jump over the cliff. Everyone had their eyes popping out of their heads when they heard Aizawa say something. Aizawa, damn, he figured it out. As the class was confused, they were about to run into the bus when Aizawa told Pixie Bob to collapse the cliff where they stood. While the cliff collapsed, Izuku had gotten halfway down the mountain and using one for all he full cowled zipped through the tree branch. Once he safely landed, he realized he left his katana on the bus. Izuku then heard screaming from his classmates. As everyone landed, they saw Izuku look just fine, no scratches, bruise or any injury. When he walked up to Yaoyorozu to ask her, "Izuku, excuse me Yaoyorozu, but could you make a katana for me? I left mine on the bus." Momo, sure. As she finishes creating one for Izuku, he got into a stance that looked weird to the other classmates. "Izuku, everyone stand back." Izuku channeled one for all into the blade of the sword. As he controlled his breathing to find the right amount of strength, reaching 45%, he unleashed the slash. Once the dirt and debris was clear, the class saw a clear path to the campsite. While everyone gave Izuku praises, Katsuki Bakugo was jealous and angry that Izuku was becoming far out of his reach. After 45 minutes they made it to the campsite, no obstacle in their way, they just had to wait for the teachers to arrive. Pixie Bob POV, the kid who volunteered to jump off the cliff, waited for his class. I don't know what his quirk is, but he's one hell of a powerhouse. I was in awe of the sheer power. I forgot to create any obstacles in their way. Back with Class 1A, after witnessing the power Izuku displayed, they saw a path that leads straight to the camp. Everyone thought it was weird that there wasn't any interference from the teachers. As they made it to the campsite, they all relaxed and waited for Aizawa and the Pussycats to arrive. By the time Aizawa and the Pussycats arrived, he was surprised that they were beaten to the training site. Everyone still had energy to spare, but Aizawa decided to let everyone enjoy the rest of the afternoon before they entered into Hell's Gate, known as their training camp. Izuku sat down near a rock. He sensed and meditated. He sensed a presence besides his class, Aizawa, the Pussycats, and a kid who was with them. Izuku felt he should speak up before the feeling he was getting turned into a horrible situation. Aizawa-sensei, I sense a disturbance in the force. /N, I set myself up for this line. Aizawa, what do you mean? Izuku, try and bring any nearby hero, because I got a feeling that this training camp would turn to hell itself. As Aizawa began to this about the words Izuku spoke, he remembered that Izuku and Blind Ronin sensed the USJ attack before they walked through the doors. Aizawa, Midoriya, can you gauge their strength? Izuku, the first three seem like low-level threat, but that doesn't mean we underestimate them. One seems to be near Todoroki's power. The other is. Aizawa, the other is what? Izuku, I don't think I can say. Aizawa, we need to know what potential danger we'll be facing. This started to freak Class 1A and the Pussycats out. After some silence, Izuku spoke again. Izuku, the one I sensed has a strength level to probably go head-to-head with All Might in terms of power. Aizawa, who should I call for backup? Any suggestions, Midoriya? Izuku, why are you asking me? I'm just a student. Aizawa, it's because you've been trained by the former #1 hero and the current #1 hero. I also believe that you are able to make the right tactical discernment. Izuku, okay, call for Kamui Woods, since he can restrain any opposition that we may face, and the fact he can blend his quirk with our surroundings. Have him bring my lady as well. Aizawa, I understand Kamui Woods, but why empty lady? Izuku, when in giant form she gets a power boost, right? I also think having a giant on our side may help with intimidation. Aizawa, okay, I'll make the call now and have them hurry here ASAP. As all of Class A were feeling scared, Izuku sensed it in the air, the tension, and he felt it was his responsibility to calm them down. Izuku, Class 1A, I know you guys might be scared, but this is the reality. We are being targeted, and you know I say let them come and get us. We're being trained to be the next best generation of heroes, so let's train to show the villains they can't mess with the next generation. As the class had calmed down, everyone had begun to rest so they could train tomorrow. As Izuku explained to Aizawa that he should call for some reinforcements, Izuku walked towards the class of 1A to make sure they're all calm. Izuku sensed that some were beginning to doubt that they were hero material. Izuku, okay everyone, remember we are training to be heroes. Villains are just an obstacle we have to overcome. I say it's better to face them now than later. Everyone started gaining confidence now that Izuku spoke. Aizawa had returned to the students after making a call for reinforcements. There was one person who still was afraid of the events that would take place. Izuku, Jiro, could you come over to me? Jiro, what's wrong? Izuku, tell me, are you scared? Jiro, I'm just a bit scared. What if something happens to any one of us? Izuku, Jiro, I'll protect you no matter what happens. Aizawa returned, having told Izuku that Kamui Woods and MT Lady would arrive around midnight. Then Izuku told Aizawa to make Class 1A act naturally, to make it see like they didn't discover anything, just in case the enemies were near the campsite. Everyone had dinner and rested as much as they could because their training would begin early in the morning. The next day, it was 5 a.m. Both MT Lady and Kamui Woods had arrived the previous night at midnight. Aizawa prepares his class to go through intense quirk development training. Everyone is assigned their tasks, but Aizawa pulls Izuku to the side. Aizawa, Midoriya, for your training you will go up against myself, the Pussycats team, and MT Lady. The reason I'm doing this is so that you're prepared for fighting in unfair odds. Izuku, I understand sensei, but before we begin, am I allowed to use my katana? Aizawa, you can't use katana and will be sharpening your senses in hand-to-hand combat. While Izuku was going to be trained personally by pro heroes, Katsuki was jealous and began to think how he was surpassing everyone's expectations. Katsuki's mind, why is that blind fuck getting all the attention? I'm the one who's better than these extras. As the training progressed, everyone made good progress, but Izuku looked beaten out of everyone else. As Jiro rushed to hold him, he gave her a cheesy smile telling her that he's okay. The students had to make their own dinner, and after all preparations were complete they all ate dinner. Izuku sensed someone leave and so he decided to follow. As the small figure stopped and sat down, Izuku slowly approached the small figure. Izuku, hello, I'm Izuku Midoriya, and you are? Kota, I'm Kota, one of the pussycats is my relative. Izuku, nice to meet you. Kota, I sense a lot of anger and you're bottling it up deep inside. Kota, what do you know? I hate heroes. You're all stupid for trying to be heroes. Izuku, you can call us stupid, but you know I lost two things: first my eyesight, second my father. As those words hit Kota, he was curious about Izuku's story. Kota, what do you mean your eyesight? Izuku, I was protecting a boy younger than me from a villain, but he thought he had the authority to decide who could be a hero and who couldn't. He blasted me with his fire quirk and I lost my vision. I lost my father because we were attacked by villains when we were supposed to train in rescue simulations. My father did everything in his power to protect all of us. He gave his life for us. As Kota heard the words Izuku spoke, he felt like he understood what Izuku had gone through because Kota lost his parents to a villain. Kota, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had such a background. Izuku, it's okay, we all come from different walks of life. Always remember your parents will always be with you. Kota, how if they're dead? Izuku, your quirk is the bond you have to your parents. If you turn your back to it, will be like turning your back on your parents. As Kota finally understood the message, there was a slow clapping that came from behind them. Clap clap asterisk clap asterisk. Isn't that a touching speech you gave just now? You remind me of the blind Ronin. Come to think of it, you look like him. Izuku, who are you? Muscular, I'm the villain named Muscular and I've come to kill Izuku Midoriya and capture Katsuki Bakugo and Mineta Minoru. Izuku, what do you want with them? Muscular, I don't want them, my boss does, so tell me where to find them, if not I'll kill you. I already know you're blind, so it will be easy. As Muscular charged at Izuku, Kota was afraid, but Izuku held his ground. When Muscular was close, Izuku pulled his arm back and yelled smash, as the villain didn't expect him to get hit by a blind person. Muscular was sent back into the mountain. As he struggles to free himself, Izuku smells something burning. Izuku, Kota, is there a fire nearby? Kota, the forest is on fire. Before Izuku could pick Kota up, Muscular rushed Izuku again, but Izuku didn't have time to deal with him because he was worried about Jiro. Izuku, Kota, close your eyes and cover your ears. See GIF above. As Izuku had killed Muscular, Kota could only hear the bones breaking, but he felt like Izuku was the one winning, so he wasn't worried. Izuku picked up Kota and swiftly ran to the campsite where he sensed a large amount of movement. He knew that someone was attacking the camp. When Izuku heard a familiar voice, Izuku, Midoriya, are you alright? Izuku, I'm fine. Where is Jiro? Is she safe? Izuku, yes, everyone from the hero classes are safe. Izuku, good to hear, but do you know what they are after? Izuku, no clue. As Izuku and Izuku arrive at the campsite, villains who attacked the teachers who oversaw the camp were put out of commission. When a voice rang with concern, Mandalay, Kota, are you hurt? Is anything broken? Do you need medical attention? Kota, I'm fine Mandalay, if it wasn't for Midoriya I'd be dead. Mandalay hugged Izuku, thanking him for saving her relative's life. Izuku then sensed Kamui Woods and MT Lady approaching. Kamui, Erasure, we were able to suppress the threat that was in the woods. Izuku, good job Kamui and MT Lady. Midoriya, you made the right call in the decision of who to call for backup. Izuku, wait, it's not over yet. I sense an evil presence far worse than before. As a black portal appeared, everyone saw two young men who looked similar to Mineta and Bakugo walk from the portal. Combustion, I am Combustion and this is Granapi. We've come to offer Katsuki and Mineta an opportunity to gain strength beyond their wildest imagination. So what do you two say? Katsuki, how much more powerful will I become? Granapi, you'll be close to matching the real leader of the League of Villains and you'll get all the women you want. Katsuki/Mineta, we're in. Everyone was in shock that they turned to evil, but Izuku could sense it in Bakugo that he wanted power by any means. Before their departure, Katsuki shouted, Katsuki, I was the one who blinded the bastard Izuku Midoriya. As the four departed in the portal, Katsuki Bakugo laughed maniacally. Everyone turned to Izuku, who was in a rage that everyone could sense when he asked, Izuku, did anyone record that for evidence? Everyone was silent until a soft voice could be heard, and it was Aoyama Yuiga. Aoyama, I recorded everything. Izuku, thank you Aoyama, you've got the evidence that we needed. Police and paramedics were called and soon enough the media caught wind of this, but what nobody could expect was that Pandora's box was just opened. After everyone discovered that Katsuki and Mineta had decided to play for the villains team, everyone was in shock, but nobody was prepared for how crazy things were going to get. The moment police arrived, the villains Spinner, Toga, Moonfish, Davy, Twice, Magni, Mustard and Compress were arrested thanks to the aid of Kamui Woods and MT Lady. Luckily nobody was injured and nobody was missing except the two boys who joined their doubles to become villains. Just as the police and ambulances arrived, a news van had tailed them to the camp and saw the mass chaos that was around them. They began filming to get a great story, but thanks to this stunt many people had begun to doubt the ability of heroes to keep the people safe. Since nobody was severely injured, Ragdoll and Pixie Bob were okay, but 2 students had fallen to villains. This event was not going to go well with the public. After everyone was questioned, they were all directed to the buses. They came one and escorted home by police and heroes. Upon arrival at home, MT Lady escorted Izuku and Jiro home when Izuku requested that Jiro spend the night at his home because they lived close to each other. MT Lady agreed, and once they were at Izuku's home, he sensed 3 people in his family's apartment. Izuku, Mom, I'm home and Jiro is with me. As Izuku announced their arrival, Inko rushed Izuku, and to his surprise, Jiro's parents were also there because he recognized their voices. As the parents hugged their respective children, they were all worried if anything had happened to them. Inko, Izuku, are you hurt? Please tell me you're okay. Izuku, relax Mom, we're fine, nobody was injured, but 2 students fell to the villain's promise of power, so they joined the villains. Kitoku, Midoriya, did you save my precious daughter again? Jiro, he did Dad. Had he not returned to the campsite, me and the rest of the class wouldn't be home now. As Jiro's father and mother hugged Izuku, thanking him for saving the life of their daughter. Just as they thought they could relax, Izuku heard the TV announce breaking news reporter, the summer training camp that Yudare was holding was just attacked by a group called the Villian Vanguard. The members of said group have been captured and are currently in custody of police. As for the students, none of them injured thanks to special help from Kamui Woods and MT Lady. Sadly, 2 students were seduced into joining the villains by promises of power and women. Izuku, oh crud, the reporters don't know they just opened Pandora's box. Inko, what do you mean honey? Izuku, with word out that 2 students joined the villains, the public will begin to believe that heroes aren't doing their job and an uprising will occur. Kitoku, is there anything we can do? Izuku, Jiro, send them the address and inform our teachers, everyone who are freshmen, to meet at this location with their families. Jiro, understood. I just sent a mass message into Class 1 a group chat, and Momo contacted Itsuka from Class 1B so they'll have the info. Inko, honey, where are we going to go? Izuku, the location Jiro sent you is one of Dad's biggest hideouts, and when he passed away his lawyer said I inherited everything he owned. There was also a letter from him in Braille saying that I'll know when it's time to use the hideout. I got a feeling something is about to go down tomorrow at school, so be ready to leave tonight. Jiro, make sure you tell our classmates to have their parents leave for this address tonight. We'll meet them there after school. As it was late, Jiro's family and Inko decided to do as Izuku said and head towards the address that they were given. Jiro's parents weren't comfortable leaving her home alone if something bad was going to happen. Izuku, Jiro can spend the night here while you 3 can head to the safe house, and we'll meet you there tomorrow after class. They were all in agreement with this plan. As Inko, Kitoku, and Mika left to the safe house, Izuku and Jiro got ready for bed and went to sleep. The next day, once Izuku and Jiro left for school, Yudare was surrounded by news reporters trying to get answers. Izuku and Jiro were able to navigate through the sea of people to make it to class. Once they got to class, Izawa was already there because he had important announcements to address. When the bell rang signaling that class has started, Izawa was going to make announcements but was cut off when Principal Nizu had asked for all classes to report to the auditorium. Izawa had led his class to the auditorium, but upon entering there was a clamor sound. It was the students asking questions about what's going to happen next. Nizu, hello students of UA, to be honest I wish there was an easier way to say this, but from henceforth UA is being shut. Boom, as an explosion was heard. Izuku's feeling was on point, but it was the army who busted the doors down. Sergeant Miyamoto, everyone freeze. We are the special task force that was created to keep heroes in line. We were granted special authority to use force if necessary. Monoma stood up trying to defy their authority. He was placed his hand on Tetsu to copy his quirk until he was shot. His quirk no longer available, he began to freak out. Monoma, what did you do to me? STG, Miyamoto, you were shot with a special bullet that makes you quirkless. All students were ready to run away, but with fear of losing their quirk they tried to be as calm as possible. STG, Miyamoto, okay everyone, if you weren't told already, UA has been shut down. When the Army Sergeant Miyamoto announced that UA was being shut down, the students wanted to begin asking questions. It wasn't until classes 1A, 1B, the support, and a few general ed students remembered the location where they were supposed to go in case of this emergency. They all complied with the Army's orders and departed for home, but what they did was go small groups to the address they were given so they would not raise suspicion. Now that those who received the address were confused as to how everyone was going to fit in the small sanctuary. Izuku, once we get inside you'll see how we're all going to fit. So once entering the hideout, everyone wondered where their parents were, since they should have been the first ones there since they left the prior night. When everyone present looked around, they saw an elevator. They took the elevator down and there they saw their families. Izuku, is everyone here? If so, we are going to wait for the pro heroes in order to find out what our next move is. As if on cue, the teachers from UA arrived, but Izuku sensed someone in the group who he hasn't met before. Izuku took the elevator up to go let the heroes into the base. As he did, he asked All Might. Izuku, All Might, who is the man in the midst of your group? I don't believe I've ever met him. All Might, Midoriya, this is Detective Naomasa and he has critical information that we must discuss inside. As Izuku had led the heroes and the detective to a council room where they would talk strategy and crucial matters. Once inside they sat down and Detective Naomasa began to speak. Naomasa, well, it seems like the League of Villains had an economic hitman working on the inside. Izuku, meaning? Naomasa, meaning the government, had a snake who was slowly poisoning the government and gaining followers. The citizens are now having doubts that heroes are needed in this society, Izuku, so the villains used an inside man in order to gain support so that soon the villains would make it illegal to be a hero. Naomasa, yes, it seems like you fully understand that heroes will soon be no more. That's why I propose that I work undercover to learn more info. As this meeting came to a conclusion, Detective Naomasa became an undercover agent. He had sent the reports to All Might. Then as weeks passed, the reports on the news came flooding in headlines that read, "Spy Among Us?" The government that was now being run by the League of Villains had discovered that there was a spy working for the heroes, but their identity wasn't uncovered yet. All Might decided to call Naomasa and tell him to try and lay low for a bit until the reports on the spy died down. Naomasa couldn't help but finish his investigation, so he stumbled upon a dark secret. As he spotted the two students who defected to E-Villains, he noticed that there were four of them, two Mineta Minorus and two Katsuki Bakugus. Naomasa was able to record and transmit the message to the Hero HQ that Izuku set up. Combustion and Katsuki, so what's the master plan here? Combustion, we invaded multiple dimensions and kill Izuku Midoriya, then we return to my dimension and mount a full-scale war against the innocent in order to draw the heroes out of hiding. Katsuki, okay, I love the plan, but what is my villain name? You have Combustion, so what should I go with? Combustion, you will go with Explosion and Mineta will go with Sticky Bomb. Explosion, I like it. Now how come that damn Deku is still alive in you dimension, this dimension and the next dimension we're going to visit? Combustion, the reason why the damn nerd is still alive is because he's extremely powerful in my dimension, this dimension, and the last dimension we're going to visit. Sticky Bomb, so that's why you're recruiting us from other dimensions to help take him down. Combustion, you catch on quickly. As Detective Naomasa had recorded the conversation and was transmitting it to Hero HQ for good measure, he took a picture, but his flash was on and was discovered. Combustion, it's the spy, get him. Naomasa tried to run away. He disconnected from the Hero HQ server so they wouldn't be able to trace the signal to the Hero hideout. This is when every villain decided to torture the spy. This went on for weeks and no word was heard from him until the news was broadcast. Reporter, this Justin the spy who dared to go against our new government was just captured and his execution will be broadcast live. As the execution was about to take place, Combustion had asked for the sharpest axe to make it swift. Combustion, any last words, spy? Naomasa, you can kill me now, but know that the light will shine in the end of days. As the axe made contact, the head of Detective Naomasa rolled. Many of the people who saw this event couldn't stomach it. All Might began to weep for the death of his friend. All Might, if it's a war they want, it's a war they look get. Izuku, All Might, it's crazy if you want to take them on. We need an army or some more reinforcements. As the situation was looking dire, Izuku sensed an energy that was full of light. As a bright light faded, everyone present in the room saw Izuku Midoriya and a foreigner next to him. Many of the pros in the room were ready for a fight. They were stopped by the blind Ronin. Blind Ronin, you give off the same aura as me. Who are you? Izuku Deku, I am you from an alternate dimension and we're here to recruit you. Blind Ronin, recruit me for what? Izuku Deku, you see, the villains have outlawed being a hero in our dimension and we plan a full-scale war to end the reign of villains. Are you in? Blind Ronin, I'm in. But there is something I gotta do before we depart. Silver, understood, let us know when you're ready to leave, we still have one dimension to visit. As Izuku, known as the Blind Ronin, was about to leave in order to join the final fight against good vs evil, he went to find Jiro. Once he sensed her. Blind Ronin, Jiro, I know you're there. Jiro, I heard everything. I know you're about to leave, but promise me you'll come back to me. Blind Ronin, I promise on my life that I'll come back to you. As Jiro kissed Izuku the Blind Ronin, she pulled away only to say to him, I'll be waiting no matter how long it takes. After finishing their kiss, the Blind Ronin returned to the other Izuku and Silver. As they left through a dimensional warp created by Mei Hatsum, the Blind Ronin asked, where are we going next? Silver answered him and said, the final dimension we're going to go to is called Archangel. Upon arrival to the dimension of the Archangel, they were in the same situation as before, where everyone was ready to fight until Silver spoke. Silver, we come in peace and we're here to help. As the angel saw three people emerge from the portal, he felt as if he's heard this voice before.